On today's episode of Homeworthy, we're celebrating the beauty of small spaces and the big ideas that bring them to life. First, we're in downtown New York City, where a consultant and content creator has turned a 375 square foot apartment into a cozy retreat using grasscloth DIY solutions and clever design hacks to maximize every inch. Next, we head to Mesa, Arizona, where a photographer and vintage dealer has filled her 550 square foot historic home with character and vintage treasures collected from her travels. Then we're on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, where an artist and her husband have transformed a compact apartment into a serene family sanctuary, layering in custom details and meaningful collections. And finally, we're in Charleston, South Carolina, where a software consultant has embraced bold color and creativity in her vibrant apartment, blending maximalist style with deeply personal touches. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Fran. Welcome to my Flatiron apartment. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Fran Licciardo. I am a tech consultant and part-time content creator here in New York City. The story of this apartment, what a journey. I think we looked at 14 or 15 apartments. I was previously living downtown in an apartment in Soho for about 3 years, and then my boyfriend and I decided to move in together. So we started looking at apartments. We originally thought we would move to the Upper East Side. We thought we would get a 2-bedroom. We really didn't know what we wanted or where we wanted to be, but we just wanted something a little bit bigger than what I had before and something fun that felt like us. So we used my broker that I used for my old apartment, and he kind of showed us around all different neighborhoods, all different types of buildings, all different types of units. And I just felt like I didn't want to live in a regular apartment. So we'd seen about a dozen apartments, and I found this apartment on Street Easy, and I said, I really want to go see this. It has a fireplace, it has skylights, it has a little kitchen window. Like, it seems so whimsical and fun. So I basically begged my broker to show us this apartment. He was like, I don't want to show it to you. It's very small, smaller than all of the other ones you've seen. I don't think you're gonna like it. And I was like, no, it's got something. I want to see it. So we came, we were in the hallway. There were, I'm sure anyone who's found an exciting apartment on Street Easy knows this, but people kind of like line up outside the door, and immediately I was like, oh, other people are interested in it? Like, I'm gonna like it. So I peeked inside and I saw the mantle, and I was like, oh my gosh, this could be it. And we came inside, I saw the skylight, there was so much natural light, so much character to the space, and I was basically like, I don't care how small it is, I wanna live in this apartment. So we put in an offer a little bit over the asking price, and that night, I think we signed our lease. Welcome to my living room and my dining room. When you walk into the space, this is kind of like the first thing that you see. It's a pretty open layout. This is actually my favorite little nook of the entire apartment. When we first saw the apartment, we absolutely loved the kitchen window. It is so charming. We love to entertain, have friends over. Joe is an amazing cook, amazing little chef. And so when he's cooking in the kitchen and we're hanging out here, he's not left behind. He's not lonely in the kitchen. I always kind of knew right off the bat that I wanted to put wallpaper and sconces up on this wall. I went back and forth about what I wanted, and then ultimately I just thought this neutral, warm grass cloth just added like a nice, fun and appealing without being anything too crazy. We added these sconces, which I absolutely love. They are renter-friendly sconces. One of my favorite things about them is that you just turn them on and off with a remote control, but they are magnetic. So you can swap out these little lampshades and just clip them, magnet them right back onto the sconce. So I feel like every season I'm gonna need some new shades of just like seasonal sconces. So I absolutely love how this turned out. And then another thing I knew kind of right off the bat was that I wanted a banquette for this area. I just felt like when you look at this space from across the room, it's nice to have one uniform piece here. So as opposed to having 4 chairs that could make it look a little too cluttered, the banquette just really grounds the space. I had a really hard time finding a banquette. I felt like at one point, I thought I was gonna make one from scratch. I texted my friend and I was like, where is the lumber yard? I need wood. I have to make myself a banquette. And then I actually found this one at ABC Home, a local home store here in Flatiron. And it has been the most perfect addition to this space. So funny story about these pillows. When I first moved to New York, I moved into my last apartment and I had no furniture. I'd never lived on my own before. I needed everything. So the first Saturday that I had to myself in New York City, I went to Jonathan Adler and I bought these pillows. And at the time, I think it was like the most expensive thing I'd ever like bought for myself, like 2 nice throw pillows from a store here in the city. It was so crazy. And they laid the foundation for the entire look and feel of my last apartment. They're some of my favorite things I own. I'm always posting about them. I feel like they're my signature piece, these little ripple wavy pillows. And I love that on one side, they're green and white, and then on the other side, they're white and green, which is fun. Sometimes if I'm feeling like cool and chill, I do both white. And then if I'm feeling extra whimsical, I'll do opposite, mix and match. And then this is our oval dining table. It's nice because you can just like slide right in and sit on the banquette. For about 5 minutes, we had a rectangular wood table, but it just was not conducive with the banquette. So we love the way this oval table is easy to slide in and out of. So when we first moved into the apartment, we were ready to unpack all of our boxes, but we had so much glassware and so many random bar items that we didn't know what to do with. So we had a really hard time looking for the perfect piece. And then we actually found this on Facebook Marketplace. Originally, I thought it was kind of underwhelming. It didn't really excite me, but now it's one of my favorite pieces that we have in the apartment because it just blends perfectly in. So we store all of our barware, glassware, extra books, just pretty things to kind of stylize it. And I love the way it sort of completes the whole dining area, like having our glassware, having our cookbooks right next to our dining table. It sort of just makes sense. This Campari print Joe gave me as a gift before I moved to New York, and I had it framed, and I love the way the burl looks with the brick and the way the wood and the burl and the brick all kind of work together. It's very neutral, so it kind of lets all of my fun, colorful things pop. So when we first saw the apartment, when we were kind of like standing outside in a line with all these other people waiting to see, you can see from the front door this beautiful marble mantle. I was so excited. Of course, classic New York rental, it doesn't work. It's not a working fireplace, but the mantle itself is so beautiful. I think every unit there's only 6 units in the building, but I think each unit has its own unique mantle, which is cool. Our building's very old, and I just feel like this piece it's so pretty, and it just sparks so much joy. So I had a lot of fun styling it. We keep our books in the mantle. There's nowhere else really to put them. I know it's a little weird maybe to have the books there, but I think it's colorful, it's fun. I have these taper candles here. I actually saw a photo of Jenna Lyons' Soho apartment from years ago, and she had 30-inch tall taper candles, and I just thought that was like so cool, so fun. They are much taller than a regular taper candle, and I feel like they just add so much height to the mantle. Right here, I have this arrangement. I found these flowers at the farmer's market, which is where I get most of my flowers. I thought these bell flowers were so pretty. And I love putting a big arrangement here in the spring. I add branches. Around Christmas time, I'll add garland and a ton of candlesticks. It's just really fun to switch up my mantle and restyle my mantle. This mirror I found on Facebook Marketplace. The previous tenant had a mirror on the mantle, so I kind of knew I wanted to do something similar. He had a beautiful mirror that was very tall. It looked amazing. It helped make the room feel very large. I have yet to find something similar that's quite as large, that's within my budget, but I did find this mirror on Facebook Marketplace for a great deal, and I love the way it looks. It's very simple. We have a lot of gold, little gold accessories in our apartment, so I feel like this looks nice with that, and it's just very simple, easy to style the mantle around a simple mirror. I love the look of a mirror on a mantle. I feel like it's just right. I feel like it's one of my favorite design tricks is to put a mirror on a mantle. Always works. So I love this. I also love that because when you walk in the apartment, you see the mantle right away. The mirror helps kind of reflect and show you more of the apartment from upon entering. So that's great from a visual aspect as well. One of my favorite small space hacks is to find places where you can hide things. This banquette that I'm sitting on has a lot of things hidden underneath the slipcover. We also used to have a different couch with a different layout, and I hid all of my shoes under the couch. The skylight is one of my favorite things about the apartment. I love the level of lighting that it brings in. Our apartment is south facing, but it's one of the shorter buildings on the street, so it actually doesn't get a ton of light despite being on the top floor. So the skylight in this room really brightens up the space. We also have skylights in the kitchen and in the bathroom, which just makes such a big difference in levels of lighting. My only criteria for this apartment and the last apartment I lived in were natural light and a dishwasher. So one of the biggest challenges in designing this apartment is the very narrow staircase that you climb up to the top of. So when we moved into this apartment, we had my old couch. It was a small couch. You could barely sit comfortably and like watch a movie and hang out on it. But we had it for over a year because it was very hard to find a new couch that would fit up the stairs. We found this couch. We did have to cut it apart and have it put back together, but we're so happy. It is very comfortable. We can fit tons of people on it. You can sit and watch a movie, watch a basketball game, watch a show, and it's so comfortable. It's very deep. We actually found it on Facebook Marketplace, and it worked out so well because the girl who had to remove it from her apartment had to take it apart to get it out of her unit. So they took it apart at her apartment, brought it up our stairs, put it back together, and we're just so happy to have a big, comfortable couch. One of the challenges though, when we got this couch, is that because it's very deep, we had sort of like this awkward, large space to fill. I had the hardest time finding a side table. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I thought maybe I would stagger some drinks tables or something. And then I found this side table on Facebook Marketplace. It is vintage. We found it from the sweetest old man. It was under $100, which is one of my favorite things about Facebook Marketplace is you can find these antique treasures for amazing prices. So it has all this cool wood detailing and then this marble top. And I just love the way it kind of solved that design challenge for us by being large but low and taking up just perfect amount of space all around. So we had our old couch and a big blank wall for a very long time. This wall is huge and it's just big and plain, and we had no idea what to do with it. We thought about doing 2 or 3 large pieces of art, but we have our gallery wall in the entry and it just seemed like it would be too busy, too much. So we just wanted one big piece. So I was looking far and wide. I couldn't find anything I wanted for art until one day I saw a TikTok of someone who had a beautiful abstract piece very similar to this, and I commented on the video and I said, where is that piece of art from? And she said it was from Meg Indy, and I was so excited because Meg and I actually met at a photo shoot for our friend Wells' small business, Swells. She makes the cutest silk scarves. We met at a Swells photo shoot in 2023. We were both models modeling the silk scarves. It was so fun, and that's how I met Meg. So when I saw that this abstract piece was by Meg, I immediately called her. I said, Meg, I am struggling to find art. Is there any way you'd be willing to make me something? And she so kindly agreed. She is such a talented artist based out of Georgia. She used to live in the city, but moved back to Georgia a couple years ago. And I am so grateful that she was willing to make me a piece. She made the color palette just feels so me. It's so light, it's airy, it's all my favorite colors, and I absolutely love how it worked in the space. That's like one of my favorite things about living in New York is that you're always meeting all these like creative, talented people. So very exciting to have a beautiful painting, but also such a great story behind it. When it delivered, she actually also, we were hanging up on the wall and I noticed she wrote me like a little poem on the back, and it's all about like the impracticality of it all and like living in the city and things like that, which are just so special to me. So the piece came, the coffee table was one of the first things we ever got in the apartment, and then it came time to find throw pillows. And I was like, okay, I have this airy, whimsical, abstract art, this grass cloth kind of funky coffee table. How am I ever going to find throw pillows that tie all of this together? So I was looking high and low. I was texting all my friends. I was like, I need help finding throw pillows. And I actually found these from an Etsy shop online. So they were able to make lumbar pillows in this fabric custom for me. The Etsy shop was amazing. They made them very quickly, and I just love how they look. The chartreuse pulls in from the painting, and then this sort of like geometric print pulls in the coffee table. I feel like these pillows really transformed the space. I love the way the lumbar shape looks on this style of couch, and I just feel like they really pulled everything together, both with color, with texture, with shape. So I am very excited about my throw pillows and my painting. So this is our coffee table. I have it styled just with a couple of my favorite coffee table books. And then actually in this bowl, we have these custom matchbooks. So Joe actually gave these to me as a Christmas gift before we moved in together. And I love them. They have the little F and J. They have some scenes from Rome, which is the first place we traveled together. They have the New York skyline, some of our favorite little treats, hot dogs, all the things. So these are really cute. We love them. Every time friends come over, we're like, okay, you have to go home with your little souvenir. So that is such a special touch. I have this little flower arrangement. I love peonies. I love making flower arrangements. So I always have flowers everywhere, fun little assortment in all of my little vases. And then one of my favorite candles and these fun coasters. I actually met a friend who used to have a small design business, and she gifted me these coasters, and I just feel like they're so like cheeky and fun. So I love these. I love making flower arrangements. It is like my passion in life. I usually get my flowers from the farmer's market, the Union Square Green Market. It's very close to my apartment, and I actually feel like living so close to the Green Market has just like fueled my passion for flower arrangements. But to prepare for Homeworthy, I wanted even more grand, even better flowers. So I went to the flower district on 28th Street yesterday morning at 7 a.m. where I stocked up on flowers. So I got beautiful peonies, viburnum, these calla lilies, which are incredible. They are so tall. I was amazed when I saw them. And I just arranged everything in all of my different vases. Any excuse to put like 6 different flower arrangements in my apartment is perfect for me. That was kind of the biggest thing I did to prep for the shoot. I also hung up curtains. I think the best part about this Homeworthy shoot is that it kind of gave me an excuse to do all of the things that I'd been putting off. So I'd been putting off hanging curtains since we moved in. I had my old curtain rods like hiding in my closet, and finally a couple weeks ago we hung them, which was exciting. One quirky thing about this rental is that our floors are very warped. So while the curtains are slightly short on this side, they're a little too long on this side. It's just perks of living in New York. So this is my desk. This is where I work almost every single day. I work from home, and I love this desk. I was previously used to living in my old apartment where I had one tiny table that was my dining table, my desk. It was my only table. So I am very grateful to be able to sprawl out on this desk. There's an Anthropologie furniture outlet a couple hours away in Connecticut. So we borrowed a friend's car. We drove up there one day after we'd moved in. We didn't really have anything particular in mind that we were looking for, but we figured we need to furnish an entire apartment. Let's just go see what they have. So we got up there. They had a few desks. They had this beautiful desk, and we were like, this is perfect. This will fill the space where we want to put the desk. This is great. And we got it for probably like 90% off retail value, which was very exciting. It's definitely not in perfect condition. It's a little bit warped and it doesn't have the handles, but because the floors are warped anyway, we just did a little crafting down there to kind of lift up the legs and have it sit evenly and have it be as sturdy as possible. So it's an amazing desk. These cabinets open up and provide a ton of storage. I've got all my stationery here. Joe has all of his little electronics in here. And then this chair, because I work from home every day, I wanted a chair that was actually functional, but of course had to be visually appealing as well. So this is my desk chair. It is comfortable to sit in, but it also looks really nice with the desk. And then just have this cute needlepoint pillow that I found in Nantucket last summer. This lamp right here, I have had this lamp almost my whole life, I want to say. I had this in my childhood bedroom. I've had it in all my apartments. I love this lamp. I think it's just so fun. I've got a few framed photos. And then in this corner, the desk, while the desk does have good storage, I have a lot of things. So I'm always tucking my little papers and things over here in the corner. We have our basil plant. We're gonna see how long we can keep that alive for, but it smells really good and it's nice to have a little greenery in the window. This framed piece right here is actually one of my favorite pieces of art, if you want to call it art, in the apartment. One of my best friends and I, we went to Paris a couple years ago, a spontaneous weekend. We were having drinks at a bar and the bartender wrote down all of his favorite places in Paris for us. And then as a surprise, she had it framed for me a couple years later. And I just think it's so pretty, but it also, I just love things with a story. So every time I look at it, I'm like, we should get ourselves back to Paris. So that is this little corner. So last but not least, in the living room behind my big flower arrangement is one of my favorite pieces of art. When I first moved to New York, I discovered Click, which is a home store. They have a few locations downtown. And I found this beautiful piece. I think the original is by Tiggy Ticehurst. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to get it. I couldn't decide if I was going to get it or not. And then a couple weeks later in the mail, my best friend surprised me. She had painted me a sort of like a very similar version of it. And I was so excited. It was like the best gift and it's just so fun. I love the piece. And then I also love that my best friend made it for me. So it is very special and it leads us right on into our bedroom. So I actually started creating content when I was 12 or 13. I started a blog in 8th grade with some of my friends. We were just in middle school in the library and all thought it would be fun to start these blogs. And I didn't even know what a blog was. I went home and I made one and I never really thought it was going to be something that would last like till the end of the week. If you had told me I would be doing adjacent content related things 13 years later, I would have not believed you. But it has been such a big part of my life. It's so fun. I feel like I've been doing this now longer than I haven't been doing it, which is so crazy to think about, but it is really fun. I work in tech. I am very like math oriented, and having a creative outlet it kind of like completes my life. I feel like I can use all different sides of my brain, and it gives me something like fun to do. It's a hobby, but it's also like my passion. I have so much fun decorating my apartment and taking photos, and I've met so many new friends and had so many exciting opportunities because of creating content. So it's something I'm really grateful for and something that I'm just so happy has been such a big part of my life. Welcome to our bedroom. We'll have to squeeze. This is our tiny little bedroom. When we first moved into this apartment, I kind of posted like apartment reveal on TikTok, and I feel like the internet had a lot to say about my little bedroom. Behind our bed is our closet. So when I'm having a meltdown about my outfit, I'm probably like struggling back here trying to find something. I tell myself having these closet doors is just like a fun way to look at all of my pretty things, but In an ideal world, I would love to have the room laid out a little bit differently. But honestly, I think the apartment it's a great space. So if this is the worst of our problems, we'll survive. The funny thing is that when we were setting up the room like this and we wanted to add a headboard, it was kind of like, okay, how are we going to do that? So the headboard is zip tied to the bed frame, which is a little bit crazy, but that's how it all stays up. And it's actually surprisingly very sturdy. So I'm glad we were able to find a renter-friendly solution to this strange layout. Our bedding is pretty simple. I always like to throw in a pop of green wherever I can to make Joe feel like so involved in my design choices. But a funny little thing, we are at the top floor of our building, so this is the penthouse. So we have this cute embroidered pillowcase that says the penthouse, which I love. It matches our green linens, and we just try to make the bedroom look as pretty as we can with our limited space. So this is my dresser. This is probably my favorite thing that I own. I've had this dresser my whole life. When I was little, it was white. And then one summer in middle school, I came home from summer camp and my mom was painting it neon green, which was funny. I had a very white bedroom growing up, so this is always like my big pop of color. And then right before I moved to New York, I painted it navy. I added new hardware, and I have squeezed it into both this apartment and my last apartment because I just can't get rid of it. Like, my criteria for an apartment is as long as my dresser fits, everything will be fine. So not only is it a very special piece to me, but it also holds so much. I probably have like 50 sweaters in this drawer alone. So I am very grateful for the storage. I'm also grateful to have a big place where I can just put all of my little things. As you can see, I have a lot of perfumes, and I love putting all my pretty things out for display. This tray is actually one of my favorite things in the apartment. I have a very hard time finding trays. So I was in Palm Beach a couple years ago and I stumbled upon this store, St. Frank. They make their own fabrics and they cover different things in their fabrics. So I purchased this tray there and I absolutely love it. I also have a few framed photos of my friends and my family, and a lot of my jewelry out on display. I change my earrings almost every single day. So I've got all of my earrings organized in here and all of my jewelry here, clips, accessories, and all my fun little things. You might not be able to tell, but I do live with my boyfriend. I am very grateful that he lets me more or less do whatever I want when it comes to decorating. I always joke his favorite color is green, so I'll get something super girly, but as long as it has like a little splash of green, it's like, oh, I actually got this for Joe. So my last apartment was very pink. It was pink coffee tables, pink accents everywhere. And in this apartment, I tried to downplay the pink, but I definitely still have a lot of fun elements. I have fun throw pillows and fun little accessories everywhere. So as long as I just incorporate that little touch of green, I'm good. Okay, welcome to our entryway. I love how our entryway turned out. We have this Burl console. This was actually a housewarming gift from my dad, which was nice. I love the way the scalloped edge is like fun and modern, but the burl is kind of a little bit more traditional. We have great opportunity for storage. We throw down our keys. I've organized all of my favorite little coffee table books. We have some of our custom little matches here. So if you forgot to grab one, you can grab one on your way out. And then we did a gallery wall. The main reason we did the gallery wall was because of our buzzer. It's just sort of this ugly big thing on the wall. So the gallery wall was a good opportunity to kind of help it blend in and just put pieces all around it. A few of these I've just pulled from magazines when I wanted to just kind of fill the art, but didn't know what to put in. But these two are probably my favorite. Last year for my birthday, we went to Monkey Bar for dinner, which is one of my favorite restaurants in the city. So this is the little postcard that they give you on your way out. And then this is a gold foil print of New York City. I'm kind of thinking like at some point we should add a little dot where our apartment is. And then we just threw in a few of our photo booth strips from different nights out in the city, and it's always fun when there's a photo booth around. This is another Match South print. This is a Mizzou matchbook. My boyfriend went to Mizzou and he is very passionate about Mizzou, so had to throw him a bone and add it to the gallery wall there. These are some of my favorite coffee table books. I love pink, but I have restricted myself to just my two little elements here. This is actually a Rummy Cube set. It's kind of like a fancy Rummy Cube set. We love games. We love Rummy Cube. Joe gave this to me as a birthday gift, and I just love like any way you can make something regular more fun. So I love that I've got my fancy little Rummy Cube set. Over here are some more of my favorite coffee table books. One of my oldest friends actually surprised me with this book a couple months ago. Down here we just have a catch-all. Joe wanted me to mention his baseball glove. One of our favorite things about our neighborhood is that we live really close to some of our best friends, like just a few blocks away from some of our best friends. So he'll go out and play catch with one of his best friends who lives like a block away. We're near a lot of parks, which is really nice. That's the console. I store some of my little bags that I'm always using. And sometimes we'll just throw our shoes under here as well. So great storage. I think it's a great use of the space. We used to have this tiny shoe rack that was very ugly, and I think this console is just a great way to make the most of the width that we have here, but it's nice and narrow, so you can still walk into the apartment and have plenty of room to turn and take off your shoes and throw down your keys and everything. One of the very first things I did when we moved into our apartment was I DIY'd these floors with peel and stick tiles from Amazon. You can kind of see the entryway from anywhere that you are in the rest of the apartment, and the previous tiles were just plain white squares that were driving me crazy. I couldn't stand it. I honestly feel like this was the best use of my time because it's held up pretty well, and I just feel like it completely transformed the entire apartment. So I'm really happy I did this. It's very easy. I feel like anyone can do it. I definitely didn't do a perfect job. I think I have opportunity to redo some of the tiles, but I just love the way it transformed the space. It's easy to remove when we inevitably move out, and it's not too expensive. So it's a great DIY, highly recommend. And on the opposite wall from the console, we have these cute framed pennants. So I went to the University of Wisconsin and Joe went to the University of Missouri, and then they're also both our home states. So it's kind of like a fun special thing that you see right when you walk in the apartment, like this is our apartment, this is us. So it's cute to have these framed here. I found the pennants both on eBay, I think. They were like fun little vintage finds. So I think this is such a cute touch. And then right off the entry, we have our big coat closet, which is very nice. Tons of storage. This is a game changer for me to have a coat closet, so that's very exciting. And then right across from the front door, we have our bathroom, which is small, but we've tried to make it as cute as possible. We have this New York wallpaper that I absolutely love. One of my favorite details is that it's got the Spring Street subway stop on it, which is actually where I used to live, so that's very special. And then we have our custom little penthouse towels, because like I said, we're at the top floor, so those are cute. So we've tried to make the little bathroom as cute as possible. It's also very nice when you're getting ready, doing your makeup and everything. We have a skylight at the top of our shower, which lets a lot of beautiful natural light into the bathroom. One of the funny things about this skylight and about this apartment is that it's near a school, and I think these kids are the happiest kids in New York. They must have recess all day because when you're in here, no matter what time of day it is when I'm working from home, if I come in the bathroom, they are outside screaming, and it just makes me laugh. It is so funny and so loud. I'm like, why are they screaming so loud? So we love that. It's funny. It makes me laugh. I think something I think about a lot when I'm decorating my home or picking out a new piece is I just want everything to feel like me and to feel like us. Like, I look on Pinterest and I see so many homes that I love and are the prettiest home I've ever seen. But I think what makes my home so special is that it just feels like me and it feels like us, and everything in it just feels like a perfect representation of who we are. All of the fun colors and all of the fun pieces of furniture and accessories all together are just, every little thing is like a memory and has something special tied to it, and all of that together, my home is such a representation of my life and of our lives and of all the fun memories that we've made together and individually. So I think that's the best part about curating a home, is being able to look around and see all of the little fun memories that you've had over your life and how they contribute to your happy place where you live every day. Thank you so much, Homeworthy, for touring my home. It was a lot of fun, but I've got to get back to work. Bye.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Ashton Swanson. Welcome to my home in Mesa, Arizona. Come on in. Let me show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Ashton Swanson. Welcome to my 550 square foot home in Mesa, Arizona. I'm a vintage owner. I am the founder of VA Collective. I do photography, and I'm also a content creator. My fiance and I have been here about 3 years now, and the story of how we ended up here is quite fun. I actually feel like I manifested this home in a way. We had been dating about 8 months at the time, and we found it realistically really difficult to see each other. We lived very far from each other, and our schedules didn't permit much time. We knew in the near future we wanted to move in together. We weren't planning on it right at this moment, but one night I randomly was looking online. I was curious what type of rentals were out there. I knew I did not want to be in an apartment. I really wanted to find a townhome, a guest home. I really wanted to live in the historic part of Mesa, Arizona. And it just so happened the next morning, my really good friend texted me and asked if we were interested in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment in a historic neighborhood in downtown Mesa. I could not believe it. I was so thrilled. I went and viewed the home that next day, and we both paid the deposit immediately. Welcome to our living room. This is the room that we spend most of our time in. I'm gonna kind of start over here in this corner, starting with this beautiful lampshade. This was actually a shade that I made myself. I had some scrap fabric from Merchant & Mills, which is a beautiful company based out of England. And so I really like this right here. Coming down right here, these florals were actually from my friend who has a garden here in Arizona. And we went out together and picked them just a couple days ago. And so I have a lot of her florals seen about my home, and they're just fantastic. We have this adorable side table. This was a vintage find at an antique store. It's really fun because my fiance and I love to spend time finding good, amazing pieces at thrift stores, antique stores, whatever you can imagine, estate sales. This one I actually saw, and I had taken a photo of it, and a couple days later I was still thinking about it. I purchased it and it was painted brown. Not a big fan of painting furniture. I think it's beautiful to keep the wood natural, but if it is painted as I purchase it, I'm willing to change the color to make it fit my home a little better. So we ended up doing it in the color Gallery Red by Farrow & Ball. We went back to go get it, and my fiance was pretty bummed because I had already been there, and he was like, oh darn, you're not gonna wanna spend more time walking around here. And I'm like, no, of course, we can do it. So I think it's one of our favorite things together is to go, like I said, to antique stores. We spend a lot of time there and make wonderful memories finding items for our home together. Coming down here, I have this really stunning Turkish pottery. I really like to incorporate different styles in my home. I think any home deserves to have a combination of different styles to really help it feel collected and to give it a lot of depth and dimension. Although I do tend to lean a lot towards the cottage vibe, I also, like I said, like to mix different styles in my home. Over here, I have this tile up on the wall, and I actually got this again this May when we were in England. There is an antique vendor there that I have seen now 2 times. And she's such a wonderful friend of mine. She actually gifted me this tile. And so this is really special to us, and I like displaying it right there on the wall. So I've mentioned my fiance and I love to travel, and our favorite place we've been to is England. We actually, the very first time we went, we stayed at this really charming cottage. It's owned by an interior designer, Vix, and she actually owns a shop, Studio Fager, in London. And so when we were there last year, I purchased this little wall candle at her shop there. And we love the scent it gives, and it's very long lasting, and so and it's also very cute, so we love that. These are some playing cards from John Deerian, and I purchased these in England at Cutterbrook shop, owned by Amanda Brooks. She no longer has a shop open, but this is such a sweet memory because her shop was our favorite in Stow on the Wold. And so we love having these handy for game nights and whatnot. So my curtains were actually sewn by my good friend Colette. She actually sewed quite a bit of curtains for me in my home, and I really love it because they were very bespoke and I was able to hand pick my own fabric that I wanted to use. We decided to do a layered look here. We love it because it gives more privacy, as well as I love a layered window in general. I think it just really keeps the eye moving, and it creates such a beautiful vignette right here as well. This is one of my favorites. My last name, like I've said earlier, is Swanson. So I've always had a major fascination to swans. In our home as well, we like to add a bit of feminine and masculine to really, like I said, create an environment that feels well balanced. And I think swans are very fun. They're very feminine, but also dominant at the same time. And so that's one of our favorite finds that we have displayed right over here. Over here is this hutch that we found from Facebook Marketplace. Prior to having this here, we had a little low dresser, and there wasn't much space for me to store and display all of my beautiful vintage items that I've collected. And so we really love this hutch because it allows us to have ample space to display everything. Coming over here, you're gonna notice there's lots of animals we have about our home. This is a darling little cow we have. My fiance and I love animals, especially we love dogs and sheep and all of that, and we are obviously not allowed to have them because we're renting, so we kind of make up for that with little animal characters all about the home. Here's some of our books over here. We love to collect books. I frequent estate sales often, and it's always fun to find rare books at estate sales. And so we like to have those all displayed up there. This is a really sweet find. This is a little cottage that I found secondhand, and it reminds me of this cottage that I've actually been to in England. So I have this displayed up here together, and I'm gonna pull out this book. My friend gifted me this for my birthday this year, and it's the same cottage. So it's really fun to have all those 3 things kind of right there displayed. And it is one of our favorite cottages that we've been to just to visit while we've been in England. So that's fun right there. This is a film photo I took when we were in Carmel this April for my 30th birthday. It was just on a drive that we had done, and my fiance was obsessed with the drive down the Big Sur coast. I had been a few times, and so we pulled over and took this photo of these cows, and we just love this picture right there. Over here, this was a photograph that we took on our engagement trip, actually. We got engaged last fall, and so that's really sweet to have that there. Over here is a duck that we got when we were in England. We love ducks as well, so that's cute. Coming down over here, we'll start with this ivy frame. I have a photo of my mom and fiance. We took her to England with us last spring, and I think this thrifted ivy frame is so cute because ivy reminds us, of course, of the Cotswolds. And then this lamp right here is a really fun story. My fiance and I were in Italy. We were actually in Sardinia, and we did a day off of the coast of Sardinia. We went to an island called Carloforte. We were walking into this store. It was not a vintage store, but this lamp was in there, and my jaw dropped when I saw it. It's onyx stone. It did not have wiring when we purchased it, and so we had to rewire it ourselves. But it's such a fun memory because I carried that home in my arms on 4 flights, and I don't regret it. I would never get rid of this lamp that we have right there. This is a pretty jar that I just have some of our matchbooks displayed in. One of our favorite things to do in the evening is to light a candle and just spend time together on the couch. And so we love to have these nearby and handy for lighting our candles. This is a really fun sketch that we got when we were in England again. We were in Stow on the Wold, and I just love it because it's a cottage, and again, I am very influenced and inspired by the English countryside, and I love anything cottage. So this is a really sweet little sketch that we have displayed back there. Over here we have these little folk homes. We got these, we were actually, like I said, in the Cotswolds in May. I found these at just a little boutique store, and my mom was with us on this trip, and when I picked these up and I purchased them and I left the store and she saw what I found, she had to go in and get a set for herself too. So this is kind of fun because we both have these in our home now displayed, and I think they're so adorable on the shelf right there. So down in here I have a painting in here. It might be kind of hard to see because it's a bit shadowed, but my fiance actually picked that out himself at an antique store we were at last summer. And it's funny because I brought it to I was going to bring it to the shop, my vintage shop, and I ended up pulling it and keeping it, and we love having it displayed down there. Next to it is a gorgeous Italian vase. So this is one of my favorite thrifted finds. It actually came with a sister set, and I had a much taller vase that I sold at the vintage market that I mentioned I'm a vendor at. I love finding pieces that have markings on the bottom, and I just think this one is really beautiful. And then I have these really beautiful quilts displayed over here. This one was actually found at a garage sale. This one was from an estate sale, and this was one that we previously actually had on our bed. And I really like displaying my quilts on the hutch. I just think it gives a different texture down there with the patterns and with the actual fabric, and I really like how they look down there. This little quirky piece up here is so fun. We purchased this when we were in Mexico, our first summer of dating, and it was actually the first piece that we bought for our home, and I use it to display or to hold my clothespins that we use for laundry. And I just think he's so fun and quirky and eclectic, and I love having his little feet hanging over the ledge like that. Coming over here, this is a lamp that I also was one of the first purchases when we had started renting our home. My mom and I were at an antique store together, and I found this lamp, and I was so obsessed with it, and she loved it so much too that she kept offering to buy it off of me, and I wouldn't give it up. It's really sweet because about a year and a half later, I ended up finding one for her on Facebook Marketplace, and I surprised her and gave it to her for Mother's Day. And she was so over the moon thrilled about it, and so we both have each of these in our home, and it's really fun. We have this art up here on the wall. I found this frame at a thrift store down the street that I also like to go to quite often, and the print came later. It's from a vintage shop. Her name is Coco Shalom, and we connected on Instagram, and she has so many amazing folk art prints on her website, and I was trying to decide which one I should get, and this one really resonated with me because it's very folk, and also my fiance loves cowboy culture and Western art, and so I thought it was perfect for our home, and the title of it is Get Off Your High Horse. And then over here, this is probably one of our favorite paintings we have in our home. We got engaged last fall in Vermont in an apple orchard while we were picking apples. It was just my fiance and I, no photographer, but it was such a dreamy proposal, and that same day I knew I wanted a painting of an apple in my home, and so I purchased one on Etsy that day, and we love it. Apples definitely have a different meaning for us now. Coming down, this is just a picture that we printed of us. We took this photo in an analog photo booth in New York City. That one's really fun, and this is this cute folk dog. So I purchased this from an antique store, and when I brought it home first, my fiance was a little skeptical. He thought he looked a little spooky, a little scary. But he ended up actually displaying him here. I had him in the bedroom, and he wanted him here because he found this piece down here at an antique store. My fiance actually picked that one out, and he was going to use it on the side of his bed and ended up thinking it would be really cute displayed right here with our dog. It's also really funny because he calls us our guard dog. It's guarding our bedroom. So that's really sweet over there. This is the centerpiece, I think, of this entire room. This is my most prized possession. I don't think I'll ever have a greater thrifted find than this. This is our gorgeous marble mantle. We were actually doing a little day trip up north to northern Arizona to pick up a table off of Facebook Marketplace that we no longer have in our home. We love to also incorporate thrifting. As if we're on a day trip, we always have to include a little bit of secondhand shopping, and we went into an antique store that just had furniture. We saw this marble mantle and I was smitten by it. We didn't know if it was gonna fit in our home though, so we made the long drive back home and I measured, and as soon as I knew it was gonna work, I called the antique shop and we paid over the phone and ended up picking it up the following week. We actually had this displayed in a different area of our home, and we recently moved it here around the holidays, and we really like it here. I think it really is the center point of the room, and it's such a conversation starter. Anytime we have guests in our home, they love to ask about this mantle. This ship right here, my fiance and I both love coastal, but this one especially, I like the American flag on it. I think it's kind of different than what you typically see. It's such a memory for me as well. My childhood, I spent summers in California. My uncle has owned a few sailboats over the years of my childhood growing up, and we would go sailing. We would stay on the boat and sleep overnight and go sailing in the morning and in the evening. And so this really just reminds me of those fun summer memories that I made as a kid growing up. This is another Staffordshire dog. We actually, when we were in London at, I mentioned Studio Fager, she had a set of these in her shop and I regretted not getting them. And I just love the peachy snout and the golden eyes. And I found these actually on Etsy, and I was so floored because it's obviously Staffordshire is very unique and it's sometimes more rare and hard to collect. And so I just love having these displayed on my mantle. I think they're adorable. So we have these candle holders up here on the wall. This is another fun story. My mom was actually going to give me one of them for Christmas, and she waited too long to purchase them, and it was gone by the time she wanted to get it for me. So after the holiday, we stumbled upon a set. So we actually found two, which was so amazing because I love having them displayed up here. And one of them actually cracked upon arrival, but it didn't matter to me. I glued it back together, and I love items that have a little bit of imperfection. I think it really tells a story, and it just adds to the charm of the piece. This is actually an acrylic painting that I painted. I'm not a painter by any means. This is the one and only I've ever done. I really wanted to have a piece here that kind of brought the blues in the room and kind of tied it in right here. We actually used to have our art that reminds us of Croatia that's now in the entryway. It used to be up above the mantle, but I felt like the mantle is a bit heavy with the color, and I wanted something a little bit brighter to counteract and to kind of help balance it out a little bit. So this painting, I was inspired by something that I had scrolled past on Pinterest. And the morning that I painted this, it was a cloudy, rainy day, which my fiance and I love cloudy weather here. We don't get it often. And so it was a really lovely morning. I was painting. I had some classical music playing. My fiance woke up and walked in and saw me painting. And it's such a beautiful memory. I'm my biggest critic, of course, of this painting. But I don't think even if I didn't want it up there, my fiance wouldn't let me take it down because he loves it so much. And he just thinks it's really special. This is really fun. This is actually a match striker. I love the vintage ones, the vintage French match strikers. This is a replica. It's not vintage, but I got it on Etsy. Etsy is one of my favorite places to source anything for my home. I love to bring pieces from all over the world into my home and find them from Etsy. This is a candle that we got in England. So there's a shop there called Dalesford Farm. Any of my friends that frequent England or live there would definitely know what I'm talking about. So when we go to the cottage I mentioned in England, there's a Dalesford 5 minutes down the road. We spend probably at least 2 times a day at Dalesford getting pastries, orange juice, produce. They have some of the best produce there. We love to cook while we're there. And so we have lots of fun memories at Dalesford. I have a few items in my home that I've purchased there that you'll see a little bit later. Again, I love quirky candle holders. That's just another one over there. Coming down, this painting here is really fun. I'm gonna bring this up close because it's one of our favorites. I got this at a car boot sale in England. It's kind of an interesting size, so it took me a while to find a frame for this piece. But I was very patient, and I waited a couple years until I finally found the right frame for it. We really love this painting because it reminds us, again, of the Cotswolds. There's a famous picturesque spot called Bibbery, and there's a very picturesque photograph area that people love to take pictures of. And right out there they have chairs in this same blue and white stripe, and so it reminds us a lot of our time in Bibbery. My fiance, when we found a frame for it, we didn't know where we were going to put it on our walls. We definitely have limited space here living in a small home, but he suggested we prop it up right by our book since he's reading a book, and I thought that was an incredible idea. So here's another really fun photograph. Again, we took photos in an analog photo booth, and this was taken in New York City on our engagement trip. We spent a day road tripping from Vermont to Boston to Rhode Island to Connecticut, and then ended in the city that evening. It was a very long-winded day. But we spent the rest of our trip in the city, and this was a really fun picture. I was showing off my ring. Even though you can't see it, I really love the energy that this photo is. It's very happy, and it reminds us of course, such good times. This is a cute little German flower child. This is a vintage one. I like this one because it's a natural wood. A lot of times you see them and they have some color on them, and I think that one's really sweet. So as I said, we love to collect books. We have such a collection of them that they've just overflowed and they end up on the floor because we don't have too many places to put them. These are our coffee table books. We love to thumb through these. And then these books over here, my fiance and I go through phases where we read quite often and other times where we're not reading as much. So I honestly think when we're in the reading phase, we end up purchasing maybe too many books, and so that's why we have quite a plethora of them. Another thing we really love to collect when we're traveling is books. I would say everywhere we travel, we come home with at least 4 to 5 books. And so it's fun because it of course reminds us of our travels. I mean, they have this Vermont book over here from where we got engaged. I think that one's just so cute up top because it reminds us of our trip there. Down here we have a basil plant, and I really love the aroma of basil. My fiance and I both do, and I think that that's really fun. Moving along, over here is one of our most special pieces of art in our home. This was a sketch that we had done of ourselves while we were in Paris for our 1-year anniversary. We were in Montmartre actually, and there's a square there that has a lot of licensed artists. We spent about half a day there. We got 3 artworks done in total, but this one we have displayed here. I like that it's a little bit cartoonish, but it's really fun, and it's such a conversation starter for sure. So this is fabric that I got from Merchant & Mills again. I have quite a bit of their fabric in my home. This one I actually did not hem. I just added the curtain rings up top, and I really like that it feels different than the other curtain panels we have in our home. It's really soft and airy. It lets light travel through, but it feels, again, very whimsy, and I honestly just love having curtains through entryways. I just think it really draws your eye up and keeps the eye interested again. So over here we have a painting below our light from Pookie Lights actually. This is one of our favorite paintings. Again, I know I keep saying that, but it's really hard because we just have a lot that we really love. But this one I think is especially important to us. I found this artist on Etsy actually, and I have another painting of hers in my home, but she has such wonderful art to pick from. I'm having a very difficult time choosing which painting of hers to purchase, and my fiance always loves to help with his opinion too. And so he picked this one, and it's really special because it reminds him of his grandfather. He actually had a painting of his late grandfather in his childhood home. His grandfather was a cowboy. His roots are from Mexico, and so it's really an ode to where he came from. It's really special to us. And then coming over here on top of this mirror is a really fun banner that I have displayed. We had this up actually around the holidays, and I never took it down because I just thought it was so fun. It's actually from a shop in England. Her name is Tessa Lazelle. I found her from Pinterest. I do love to find inspiration on Pinterest. Some of the pieces that I have in my home I found from Pinterest first. And this is made out of scrap leather, and so it's really fun because it's upcycled, and I think it's just really cute and adds a personal touch, and it's very whimsical. Coming over here, we have this beautiful pine chair. So I was at an estate sale and I saw this amazing pine desk. I of course don't have space in my home for that, but I convinced my mom she needed it. And it came with this really beautiful chair, and she wanted me to have the chair since I wasn't able to keep the pine desk. And so I really love this chair. And then we just, again, have some of our books displayed there. I love to decorate with books. I think it gives depth and also allows us to give some height in our home in areas that feels a little bit low. So over here I'm gonna start with this light fixture that we have. So my fiance and he took me to Carmel for my 30th birthday, and while there we visited 2 restaurants, La Bicyclette and Casanova. And in both of the restaurants, they're very French European inspired cuisine, and even down to the design. And they had these light fixtures in there, and I've seen them before on some interior design pages on Instagram. And I really love them, but it just so happens my fiance loves them as much as me, if not even more. So when we came home, I decided to try and create it. And so I did. I made us a little lamp right here. And it really reminds us of France and just European culture in general. Like I said, we love to incorporate bits of our travels into our home, and it reminds us of our memories that we also spent at this restaurant that we ate at. Our server was named Ashton as well when we ate on my birthday, and so it really just gives us great memories of our time we spent there. So this painting over here is really a really sweet story as well. When we went to England our first time, we visited Bath, and we had never been there before. We didn't know the geography of the city. It was close to sunset when we made it there, and we turned a corner and we had this view of this bridge, and it was such a beautiful day, a beautiful memory. The second time we went back to England, we had my mom with us, and we took her to Bath, and there was a local artist on the street selling her paintings, and she had a painting of that bridge. And so we of course had to have that in our house, and I think it's just beautiful. Reminds us of our time there. I have some of my plates displayed on the wall again. I love incorporating plates on the wall all about my home. Coming down to the couch, this one is really fun. So when we first moved in, we had a gorgeous yellow settee and ottoman, and I never thought I'd get rid of it. I was scrolling one night on Facebook Marketplace, doing my regular routine of that, and stumbled upon this couch. I didn't really have a need for it, but I wanted it. And so we went and picked up this sofa, and I am just in love with it. I think it's such a punch. It's such a statement. It pulls the red in the room together. I love the plaid, and I love the floral design. It's different than what you would typically see. And so that's really sweet. And then these are actually shams from Schoolhouse. And this is a thrifted pillow. And then over here, this top painting was another painting I sourced in England. It was from an antique vendor that I really connected with. We shared our love for antique items and travel, and she gave me an incredible deal on this painting. It's actually a French painting as well, and I just love the harbor scene. And then this painting down below, another really sweet story. I found this at a vintage market, and when I brought it home, my fiance and I, we both just loved it. We had it displayed on our walls in our home, and a little bit later it started to chip. And so I decided I would bring it to my vintage shop, which I don't typically run anything by my fiance when I'm, choosing what I'm gonna bring to my shop for the week. But he happened to see it post on my Instagram, and he was pretty bummed I was wanting to let go of this painting. He kind of pointed out that the chipping looks like a bag, and I really love that. And so when I knew he didn't want me to get rid of it, there was no way I was going to let go of this painting. And so we have it on our walls, and it reminds him of Paris, and we also just love rainy weather. And so that one's a really sweet painting right there. I'm going to actually bring you up over here above the doorway. There's a little sketch that I did of some geraniums. I would love to have geraniums in our home year round, but realistically, being in the heat, we don't have that option here. Geraniums remind me a lot of the Cotswolds, and so I really wanted to incorporate that piece in my home, and it was just a fun little sketch that I did on a notepad of just some notepad paper that I had from a boutique hotel that we stayed at in Carmel. This is my cute little lamb I'm gonna show you because I'm in love with this one. This was an antique find. I actually got it again around the holidays, and it was an item that I didn't put away. It's gonna be staying out year round. And she's just so cute. I love my little lamb there. These are some books back here that we frequent more often. Then coming over here is our couch. We spend so much time in this room. Our favorite thing to do at the end of the day is to just wind down on the couch and have good conversation. You'll notice we don't have a TV in this room. We actually use a projector, and it was my fiance's idea. When we first moved in, I had my TV here, and he suggested that we get rid of the TV, and I was totally about it because it meant I had more space to display on the walls. And so we love to cozy up on this couch. I really wanted to make it really comfy. We have this couch cover on top, and I have the schoolhouse duvet. Actually, it's layered over the back of the couch, and I think it really adds a bit of color and more texture, and it pulls the blue in this corner. A few of these pillows on here I actually gifted myself for my 30th birthday. This is the company that the pillows are from. I'm gonna butcher the name, so I'm not gonna even try, but it's a Finnish company. They have really gorgeous cushions and textiles. And then I'm gonna bring you to this painting right here. I went to an estate sale one time, and there was it was an artist who had passed away, and she had 4 of her children just auctioning off all of her art. I left that day with 15 paintings, and I kept 3 of them, and this is one of them, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of her. I love her. I think she's so beautiful. Then we have a little apple plate right above. Again, we love apples, and so there will be little moments here and there where we see some apple art in our home. This ottoman actually was a purchase that came with the couch. There was a lady that was just selling off her neighbor's like his estate, and we love this ottoman. We used to have, again, like I said, a matching yellow with our previous couch, but I really like that this gave us more space in the room. We love to have our coffee table books displayed that we read often. One of our favorite things to do is to host guests and family members in our home, and we keep these dinner cards out, and these are really fun conversation starters for when we have guests over. And this was something that I actually got in the Cotswolds in Lake Hawk is where I found this. It's a little match striker. It's super sweet. I love having jute rugs in my home. I'm pretty sure I have one in every single room. And I think this room was really fun to layer this rug on top of it. This was actually a thrift find, and it was rolled up and sitting in a closet for quite a while. And I finally decided, why don't we just layer it on top of our jute rug? And I think it's so beautiful. I get a lot of questions about where this rug was from, and I actually don't know because it was a thrift find and there's no tag on it, but I think it's really pretty, and it really pulls in the creams that are in the room. My style is very cottage. I would say it's a bit of Scandinavian vibe. I love eclectic. I like color. I like print and pattern. And my most important goal with my home is to make it feel cozy and inviting, a place you want to cuddle up, read a book, relax on the couch, and just feel at home. What I love most about my home is the feeling you feel when you're in here. My fiance and I really love having a cozy atmosphere to wind down in. We honestly spend most of our time at home. We're big homebodies, and it was really important to me that we created a space that invoked that feeling. And now let me take you to our bedroom. And on the way to the bedroom, I want to show you these plates I have displayed above. This is kind of fun. So these are olives on the plates, and my fiance and I do not care for olives, but my mom is in love with olives. She's obsessed with them, and so these just make me think of her, and I think they're so cute up above the doorway. So come on in here. This is our bedroom. So we love our cozy bed in here. This area, actually this corner, gets no light, and so when we first moved in with our bed here, our bed is an IKEA bed. It was dark velvet green, and I reupholstered this in this beautiful ticking stripe fabric and had my friend Colette sew these curtain panels to match. And we really love the cozy nook feeling that this bed provides. I added a cushion here on my bed and layered it with this beautiful quilt. And then coming over here, we have our Roman shades that were custom made from Etsy. They're great for privacy, and I really think that the print is so fun. This was a gift that my friend gave me for my 30th birthday. It's really special. I use it to hold my rings at the end of the night. This is a Verawing wedding book that I got at a garage, so I love to thumb through this as I'm planning my wedding. This was also a gift from one of my friends for Christmas, as well as this is a silk box. It's really beautiful that I use to display those together. We have this beautiful candelabra that was a thrifted find. It's one of my absolute favorites. And then we have this apothecary box over here. I found it painted the butter yellow, and I think it's so cute. Most people would probably not prefer it be painted, but I really like it. I like to have unique little match strikers in our home. This is one that I just created and added a match striker on the bottom. This is actually a film photograph I took when we were in the Cotswolds, and we framed it in this really pretty pine frame that we found on a day trip up north. This is a planner we got in Carmel on my birthday at a boutique shop. We painted our doors Winter Lake by Benjamin Moore, a pop of blue in here. I think it's really good that it kind of pulls all the colors in our home together. I like the blues and the reds. This painting over here is really, really special. I got this at an estate sale of a collector who had loads of art from various well-known artists. And I had gotten to this estate sale, didn't really expect to purchase anything. I figured the prices would be out of budget, but when I got there, the prices were very affordable, and I started circling around to figure out what I was going to take home with me. And by the time I came back around, all the paintings were gone, and I had not seen this one until I made my second round. This is a French artist, and I really like this painting because it reminds me of all my nieces and nephews. I have quite a few, and so I brought it home, and my fiance was enamored by it. He loves it just as much as I do. Here's another really fun picture that we took in the analog film booth on our engagement trip. And I also purchased this on that same trip when we were in Vermont. And I wanted to get something on our travels that I could use to hold my engagement ring when I go to bed at night. And so that's what this is for. It's really sweet. Coming over here, this chair was a thrifted find. I got it at a thrift store, and when I took a picture of it, I sent it to my fiance to get his opinion. It had this beading up around and a blue satin fabric that wasn't my personal favorite. And so I saw the vision. He wasn't quite sure about it, but I actually reupholstered this in fabric from Merchant & Mills, and I just think it's so lovely. This was also a really fun, it's a bespoke pillow that I kind of helped design. I got it from a gal, Fabric Snug. She's from England, and it's just covered in some really gorgeous fabric, and that's really sweet on our bed. Next, I would love to show you our tiny, cute bathroom. Welcome into my bathroom. We first have this brass sign. This is very cute because in England they have the water closets all about, and I got this while we were in London. And it's really special to us. Coming in here, our favorite thing in the bathroom is our Delft tiles. That was an amazing thrift find. I actually got those for only $2. It was a set of 3, and I ended up purchasing the 4th on Etsy. Again, we love animals, and I really like the story of the dog sitting and kind of looking ahead, and in the very front is the rabbit leading and kind of looking back, and I think that that's very cute. This sink skirt is one of my favorites. I get lots of questions about it. It was from an Etsy shop. It's great for having some extra storage in our small bathroom, and I think it really just adds such a cute cottage touch. Up above me, here are plates that I got in Daylesford at that same shop I mentioned earlier. We really love Daylesford, and so these are really special in our bathroom here. Behind the door, we have a painting, and it was from that same artist estate where I mentioned I brought home 15 paintings. It was one of the other paintings that I decided to keep, and it really is so gorgeous. I like the blue. It pulls in the blue from the bedroom and the blue about our home. And then over here, this is one of my favorite folk swans. I have it displayed above on our toilet storage, and then to the left of it is a really gorgeous folk art frame that I got on Etsy. We have a light sconce from Pookie Lights, and I added a vintage shade on top. I had never seen something been done like this before, but I had this idea to use this brass swan clip to hold our hand towel, and I think it's just so adorable. It's kind of different than what you would typically see, and we love it. So our home is 550 square feet. I draw a lot of inspiration from actually a cottage that we go and visit quite often in England. It's pretty small and cozy as well. And so for both of us here, we try to maximize our space as best as we can. What I really love about having a small home is it's quite easy to make it feel cozy. I love to display plates on my wall. I have really gorgeous oil paintings in my home. We try to do our best to really maximize storage here as well. So I, of course, love everything to be cute as well as functional. To me, what makes a home come alive is really the decor pieces that you invite into the space. I love to bring pieces in here that tell a story. We love to travel. A lot of the items that I have in my home we've collected from our travels, and I think that that really makes it feel special. Now let me take you to our kitchen next. Welcome to my kitchen. This is an area in our home that we love to be in. We make many memories in here. We start our mornings with a cup of coffee and end the evening cooking dinner together. This is our hutch over here that we thrifted for this space. We love it because it helps us display all of our vintage dishware, our coffee machine. We've got lots of vintage treasures in here. One of our favorites is this cute apple embroidery that we kind of have hidden over here. It's a little little peek into that area. I love to have trinkets in my home. This one is super sweet. This is actually made in England. It's a tea box holder. And I really think this is super cute and functional. These were mugs that we purchased at Dalesford Farm when we were most recently there in May, and I love having fun coffee mugs. We have this lampshade here that I got from Etsy. I get lots of questions about that. It was from a lady made it who lives in England. Coming over here to this area of the kitchen, we have this fabric that I purchased from Merchant & Mills that my friend sewed for me, and we love that it provides us more storage. And we keep my fiance's guitar back behind there. And then this was another lampshade that I covered myself. It's super sweet. I like the cottage feel it gives. And then this is another art piece that we found from the same artist that painted the cowboy art in our family room, in our living room. And then coming over this way, this is the full film photograph that we took on our engagement trip, included with this photo that I printed of our engagement in the apple orchard. Coming down here, this was actually a really sweet gift that my fiance gave me. My Instagram handle is actually Ashton's Cottage, and we joke about it because it's not technically a cottage, but we really try to make it feel like a cottage. And he had this hand embroidered and gifted this to me, and I love this linen towel right here. I love to make coffee and tea for my guests, and so we have our teapot here. This is another really sweet painting that was a commission from an artist in Ukraine that I had her paint for me. Coming over here, this was a birthday gift from my friend. It's a really cute little vase. I like to have my bud vases in it. This is my fiance's favorite lamp in the whole house, if you were to ask him. He really likes the warm ambiance that it creates, and we love having kitchen lighting in our kitchen. This was a lamp this fixture right here is actually from Hui Light. I get lots of questions about this one. We love this one because it gives Parisian vibes. And again, I like to incorporate lots of different elements in my home. And so that's really sweet. Up here, these baskets are really fun. So the cottage that I mentioned, we love to stay at in England. She has some baskets displayed in her kitchen. And I was really inspired and I wanted to create something as well, but I used a rod instead. And I just think it's so cute. And it really draws your eye up living in a small home. And then behind there we have some of our Delft collection. I think it's really sweet. My roots are actually from Danish, Sweden, and England. And it's really sweet to me that I happen to have a lot of that style in my home. This is a kitchen sink skirt. I love sink skirts in general. This one was just actually made out of an IKEA tablecloth. And my friend Colette also sewed this for me. This is a really gorgeous alabaster pedestal that I got in England. I think it's a really fun different element in the room. I found this butter dish at a charity shop in England, and I think it's just absolutely stunning. We have some of our antique cutting boards behind there. This was a vase that I got on my birthday trip when we went to Carmel, and I just think it's so gorgeous in the kitchen there. We have our cookbooks up above and our jars. Again, we have to always think about storage, so it's a great place to keep some of our bulk foods. So this is our breakfast nook. It's one of our favorite little spots to spend time. We actually had a marble Italian table in here. And as time passes, I feel like my style is constantly transitioning, evolving, and it didn't fit the vibe and style that we were going for. I never thought I'd get rid of it, but I really like this wooden table. It feels very Scandinavian to me. These are maple chairs. We sanded them down actually, and decided not to stain them and just leave them in their raw state. And I think it's really gorgeous. I like the contrast with the table. This is a beautiful antique brass hook. I get lots of questions about this one. I found this at an antique store that was actually closing down, so I got it for an incredible price. This is a beautiful apron that I got in the Cotswolds, as well as this bag. It was another car boot sale find in England. And then this is a pendant from Duval. We love this. It's very simple, and I think it really is perfect for this space. And then this is a gorgeous eclectic painting back there I got from Facebook Marketplace. I went to a home of a girl who was selling her late mother's artwork, and she had tons to choose from and I left with 3. I decided to keep this one. The blues and orange are a bit strong for kind of what we have going on here, but I really think it fits the space because it's very eclectic and a little bit different. I like the goldfish in the jar. I think it's something you don't see very often. This is more fabric from Merchant & Mills that we created, these curtains. This is super sweet. These are our mail keys and our laundry key. We like to have it right here so that as we're leaving and coming back in, we don't forget to put it there and so that we don't lose it. Down below, we have this beautiful copper watering pail on top of a pine stool, which we love that. And then over here, we covered this door in the color ombre blue by Bear, and I added this peel and stick molding. And then I did a stencil down inside. And the one thing that I love about our home is that everything is reversible because we are renting, and so I have to get really creative with how I can make the home feel more cozy. Up above, we have the shelf that we added. There's lots of vintage treasures above. This one over here was actually my late grandmother's, my mom's mom. I never got to meet her, but this was what was displayed in her kitchen, and so that's really special to me. This is a really fun candle holder from one of my good friends in the vintage community. Her name is Nina, and I have it paired with a candlestick from my friend that she gifted me for my birthday. My career started in photography, and it's led me to own a vintage shop. It actually is a fun story because I started collecting vintage for my home one day, and I had an overflowing amount of items. I love thrifting. It's my favorite thing, the hunt of finding an amazing secondhand find. And so it kind of turned into my vintage shop, and I do collections each week. I love bringing different pieces to my audience on my Instagram page, and I find a lot of joy with doing this. I get to couple my photography skills in with the vintage shop as I photograph my items to post to sell. So welcome to my entryway. This is the first impression my guests get as they come into our home. I really tried to keep the colors in here kind of going with the colors that are spread out throughout our home. We have some reds, some yellows, a little bit of blue. This is one of our favorite paintings right here that you see displayed on the wall. So there's an antique store right down the street from my home, and I actually grew up going here quite often with my mom. I would go into this antique store often and see this painting here every single time I went in, and I would just stare at it. I loved it. It was a little out of my budget, and I never expected to ever purchase it. There was one day I spontaneously left with the painting. I didn't even have any intention of purchasing it. The reason we love it so much is we did a lot of traveling our first summer together, and this reminds us of Croatia and our memories there. When we left Croatia, I cried because I loved it so much. So this painting is especially important to us, and it's one we'll never let go of. Coming down here, the Staffordshire dog. So a place we really love to travel to is England. We had been quite a few times. We most recently went this spring in May. This was a dream find for me. I've always wanted to find some Staffordshire dogs while in England. We found these at a car boot sale. They were dug down beneath a bucket of random stuff, and I got them for such an amazing price, and I absolutely adore my Staffordshire dogs. Over here, this vase is from a vintage market I actually do twice a year. I'm a vendor, and I purchased this from the lady who hosts the market, so it's really a sweet little vase here. This is a gorgeous pottery tulip candle holder. My fiance gifted me this for Christmas. It came all the way from Ukraine, and I don't have candles in it currently, but it's one of our favorite candle holders. I love quirky candle holders. You'll kind of see that about the home. It's something I love to collect. Coming over here, we have this mirror that I covered with some stamps from a lovely Instagram shop called Shop Hail on Instagram. And I really like how it feels a little bit imperfect and quirky, and I think that's my favorite thing. I love to have items in my home that aren't necessarily perfect. I think it really adds to the character and the story of the item itself. Over here are some really beautiful, I'll kind of show these off, these plates I got from my friend at that same vintage market I mentioned. And I love having plates displayed in my home. It really invokes the feelings that I feel when I'm in the Cotswolds. And I think it's really sweet to have plates displayed rather than just art everywhere in your home. It's something unique and different, and I think it really adds a bit of character and difference in the home. We love having a coat rack in our home. It's actually funny because we live in Arizona. It's nice and hot here, but everywhere you go in the summertime, it's really cold inside. So I have my jacket, my coat here, bags, my fiance's hat is right here. I really like to have curtains in my home. I think they bring a really soft touch, especially as you enter into the next room. These were actually a gift that my mom gave me for Christmas one year. They are beautiful linen gauze curtains, and I don't think I'll ever let go of these either. I really like how playful they are right here in this entryway. So something that was really important to me with this rental was having the opportunity to create and make it kind of more my own. When we moved in, the floor had tiles that were okay, but it wasn't my preference. So I actually laid these tiles myself. They're the Chris Loves Julia Floor Pops Peel and Stick. And I think they really give a bit of French aesthetic in here. And we really love traveling, like I said, and we love to go to France as well. And so I like to incorporate different styles in my home that reflect myself and my fiance and where we enjoy spending our time. To me, home is a place where you feel at your most best. You feel like you can relax and be your best self and really just have no pressure and just relax. It's about being together and spending time together, making memories. It was so nice to have you, Homeworthy, but I've got to get going. I've got vintage treasures I need to find. See you later.
Oh, hi, Homeworthy. I'm Savvy.
And I'm Nate.
And welcome to our apartment on the Upper East Side. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
I'm Savvy.
I'm Nate.
I work here in New York as an artist, speaker, and a content creator.
And I am a M&A lawyer in the city.
And this is our apartment in the Upper East Side. We found this place when I was on Street Easy. I felt like morning, noon, and night because we knew we had to get out of our apartment, but we didn't have an apartment. And it's that classic, your lease is ending and you find the apartment 2 weeks before situation.
Yeah,
And
I don't think I'd even seen it.
You didn't see it.
In
I was
person.
really nervous.
I relied
about
on
that.
you. It was all on you.
Which I'm glad that you like it. I was super stressed
lot
at
of
the
pressure.
time. But we came and toured it, and right off the bat, I kind of knew this was the place. We knew we wanted a place with 2 bedrooms if we were going to grow our family, more space than our original apartment, and I loved the just the architecture of this building, and this apartment is so special, and it's very, I don't know, historic, and we love that in apartments and houses. And so right when we saw it, I knew that this was the one.
Yeah, it's very different than our last place, which was a typical doorman, new building, new appliances.
Yeah.
And we knew, I think, that we wanted something that was a little bit more of a blank canvas that we could make our own, put our personal touch on it, let our creative juices fly, and create our own space.
Yeah, a place that felt more like home is what we were looking for. And this was actually the only apartment that we toured in person, or I did.
That's right,
I guess. The only one that we went in person, then I saw it and done deal. It's such a gem. I feel so fortunate that we get to live here. It's been such a great apartment and great home to bring our daughter home to.
Absolutely. And it's broken up into different segments.
And I
different
like that.
spaces.
Yeah, I think our old apartment had a very, even though it was small, it was open. And this having different rooms for different purposes is really nice. It really,
definitely.
It just feels very, it enhances, I'm gonna say cozy again, it enhances that cozy vibe and gives a distinction for each space, which I like. So it was a completely blank canvas, like Nate was saying. And so when we designed this spot, there's not a decision or an item or a paint color in this apartment that wasn't decided on by the both of us. I think that we didn't really have an idea when we came in here, first off, of what we wanted the space to look like. And it's truly taken 4 years. It wasn't a done in 6 months, this is great, this is our apartment. It was a very long process of collecting items that meant a lot to us, that felt emotional. I don't know, that it was a long process instead of a shorter one, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think it's still over. I think that's one of the cool things about design and having a space that's your own is that it's continually evolving.
Yeah.
We're always still looking at each space, especially now that we're parents, and thinking, all right, how does this now fit into our lives? How do we want to change this based on what we're feeling at that time? in that season, and you know,
Each
how it can
room
change.
definitely got a total remakeover once we had our
Did,
daughter.
yes.
Baby proofing everything,
Yeah.
making sure that there was room for stuff.
Less sharp edges.
Less sharp edges,
Yeah.
more soft things. But I think with the main idea we had in mind was creating some place that felt like a home in the city. Because from our last apartment that felt very city apartment, having a place that felt cozy was super important to me.
Something where you could be in the space and it wouldn't feel like you're necessarily in the middle of Manhattan.
Yeah. First off, obviously, having a baby, we looked through the lens of safety first off. When we go through our apartment, I was like, this is a death trap. So a lot of things changed through that lens, but there's also a second lens of wanting it to be real, you know, and not trying to, you know, we have her toys out all the time. I want her to be able to like not have to find her toys and search for them, that she can easily grab her stuff, and that this is her home too, and not hiding her toys or whatever. But so you will see a lot of stations for a girl around the house. And
Yeah. It's also the realization that, you know, we live in an apartment in
Yeah.
New York City. We don't live in a giant house that has lots of different rooms
Yeah.
where, you know, it can be designated space for her and then other spaces that she just doesn't go to. Every space, including
Is her space.
the nooks in our bathroom, like are,
Yeah.
you know, fair game for her to explore and figure out. So it really is having to use every ounce and make sure that, you know, it's
functional, safe, aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's a good mix. Yeah. The Venn diagram.
There's a circle in there somewhere. So this is our foyer, entryway, hallway, dining room, bar.
Multi-purpose space, whatever we need it to be
Yes.
at that moment in time.
At the moment in time.
Yeah.
But we spend so much time in this room. We spend every meal right here. Obviously, we have a chair for our daughter. And this is a space that when in designing it, I knew I wanted to be cohesive with the rest of the space, and kind of starting off with a cooler, like calmer vibe palette. Keeping all of the artwork black and white was an intention, and it's been fun to create and gather things over time. Whenever we're fortunate enough to travel, something we do is we always grab art. That's kind of our souvenir that we always get. And so a few of these pieces are from our travels, but also just from interesting moments in life. Like this middle one, the Hemingway poster, it's actually a menu. Whenever on our honeymoon and on our baby moon, there's this bar in the Ritz, Paris called the Hemingway Bar. And it's where Hemingway wrote.
He would do some writing, probably a lot of drinking, a little bit of both.
Yeah. But that's the menu. And so we just bought the menu, and it just makes me so happy to get to see a place that was special to us in our honeymoon and our baby moon, getting to be there.
Been back to multiple times, yeah.
A lot of the styling in this apartment is objects where I'm emotionally attached to any object, but I wanted it to be objects that other people would be emotionally attached to them as well. And it's been very cool to kind of gather things. We have like a matchbook box of everything, and boxes of people's apartments, restaurants we've been to.
Yeah.
And then these are super special. I love these.
Yes, those are my great-grandmother's martini glasses.
For her wedding, right?
From her wedding, yeah. That have been passed along and now are here in New York in our apartment all the way from Missouri, so.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so special. I think this was from a Florence trip. This is from when we went to Prague. This is our building from 1940s. I don't even remember how we found that. I think I saw a TikTok one time that you can get photos of the outside of your buildings online for some sort of documentation, and we did, and that's super special to have. A lot of random stuff in the apartment that's been collected.
Yeah,
But
and a lot of your art around the apartment too.
yeah,
That
a
we'll
lot of
see
my art too.
periodically,
Like a
so.
lot of my stuff's over there, but
You
this
may
is
not know, Savvy is an incredible artist, so
Thank you.
her pieces will be showcased throughout.
It's very fun to decorate and find things, but keeping very intentional. I have a hesitancy to just, if I love it, it's gonna go up. And so I think that where we balance each other out is you love things and you see like a simplicity eye. I think that's where you look through things and saying, all right, let's take it away. What's the most important vibe? What's the most important piece? And so making those together has been, I think, where we see the fluidity in the apartment.
Yeah, I think that's right. That looks like it could be us.
And so we put it up there.
And now it hangs
There's
in
a bunch of these random people in the apartment.
Exactly.
We take our Christmas cards in Central Park every year, and we've done that for the last 5 years.
6 years, yeah.
And so instead of just framing the actual Christmas card, we just decided to frame the picture. But yeah, it's a tradition we have, and I think that was maybe the first year we actually did it. So that was from 5 years ago. It's very special to see though. These 2 paintings are actually, if you go to the Met archives online, you can actually download a lot of free images that you can put art. And so living near the Met, we go all the time, and it's such a gift to get to be there, and it's such a cool thing that we get to experience. And on their website, you can download some art for free too, which is super cool, and love having parts of the Met in our home. For people who don't drink a lot, we do have a lot of alcohol, but I think that whenever we do a drink, you like to, on maternity leave, you created, one of his goals was to create the perfect martini, and you did.
Did I?
I don't think I did. Really good.
I have lots of attempts. I'm a lot better at drinking alcohol than I am at creating drinks, I've come to learn. I'm gonna keep trying and learning and getting better, but I seem to be better at consuming it, so. I tried to do a gin, Hendrix, dirty martini.
Frozen glass.
Yeah. It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't. I'm not competing.
It was
I'm not competing with the best martinis in New York anytime soon. So the Carlisle has me beat still. All right, Homeworthy. I am out. I'd like to say that the decisions in our apartment is a joint effort between Savvy and I, but we all know who the real boss is, so I'm going to let her show the rest of the apartment.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye. Peace. Bye. This is our living room. This is the room we definitely spend the most amount of time in, and it's one of my favorite rooms in the apartment. It actually just recently got a overhaul as soon as our daughter became mobile, and I realized so many things in here were a death trap. Like this little ottoman got redone. It was originally a glass mirror, sharp edges insanity. And it's been so fun having this in here. Not only does it create so much space for her to move and have fun in here and run around, but seeing her learn how to walk by holding onto the edge of this is so special. It's also been so key having this as a movable tray, because whenever she's in here and we're hanging out, we just pick this up, slide it over here, and she can crawl on top of it, have a heyday, which is super fun. But I love this space. We kind of chose a blue to go off of when we painted these cabinets. They were white bookshelves, and then we painted them this color blue, and so there's a lot of blue hints in this room, along with kind of keeping with the neutral tones of a lot of golds, a lot of browns in our apartment. Full transparency, this desk normally, actually, if it's a big work day or something's happening, this fits, this goes this way. It takes up so much room, but that way whoever's working can also be a part of the family and watch TV and join in, but this way they're looking at the wall. But this is our working desk, and then these bookshelves are my favorite. They have so much fun stuff in them that is so special to me that I just love. From photos of our family, books that have been from both sides of our grandparents, it's collections from when we've gone on our travels. This couch, we originally had a couch in here. It was the first purchase we had ever made as a couple. It was this blue velvet couch that we loved, hence all the blues in this room. We just got rid of it like a few months ago, and I'm obsessed with this couch. It's essentially more of like a bed than a couch. We can all fit as a family vertically, fits included, and it's amazing for Saturday morning movies. It's great. The couch and this ottoman are both from West Elm, and these chairs are from CB2. You can really lounge in these. They have enough room for you and a dog, which is great. And they've been with us for a very long time. This was maybe the first purchase we got for this apartment because we finally had space. We normally had just had a couch for forever, and having more space to host people was so much fun to have, and it was great. This fireplace was one of the main reasons why I fell in love with this apartment. It's so huge and I just love it. Fitz's bed lives in there right now. It's non-working, so don't worry, he's completely safe. But these gold decals, I just love so much. If I'm being transparent, I don't know the history behind them. I love them, but when we were going to the Met recently, actually with our daughter, one of the sculptures had a very similar decal, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to figure that out. So this is reminding me that I need to find out the history behind these, because I love these. I think it's so cool. This is such a fun, gigantic space. This is a vintage mirror we got a few years ago that I just love as well. I think it's so funky and gigantic and huge and really interesting. So I love that. This bookcase, again, has a lot of stuff that I love, but what I want to tell you guys about is that banjo up top. So I was Miss America in 2017, and during that year, so many people would give me so many gifts from past just Miss Americas. There's so much history. I was the 96 Miss America, so it's almost 100 years of history. And so one of the things though that people would always give me was this license plate that was made in 1964 when the very first Miss Arkansas became Miss America, Donna Axum. And those license plates were everywhere, apparently. We have about 15 that people gave me. However, this one is connected to a banjo. And on Nate and I's wedding day, someone, I still don't know who, placed this banjo on my parents' front doorstep. So if you are watching this, please let me know. Thank you. It's one of my most prized possessions. I think it's so fun and so cool. It reminds me of Arkansas, it reminds me of home. And it's such a sweet memorabilia of my time as Miss America, which I love. A lot of my art is in this bowl. I don't really know why it's in there. If I'm being transparent, I really need to hide these and put these in a place that's safe for keeping. But this has been such a sweet and cool thing. That gavel over there is Nate's grandfather's gavel. Just lots of stuff in here, again, that reminds us of family and is like home, is something that's very special to me. This little section, something that you'll see a lot in this room as I'm looking around, is that there are so many family photos, baby photos. I just know that I will look back on this season of life as the golden days and as the best years of my life. Getting to raise my daughter here in the city is such a joy and a privilege. And it's so fun getting to just print out photos of her and put them everywhere. She's the best. This is a drawing I did of one of the paintings in the Met. We love going there and doing speed drawings of some of our favorite paintings. And this is one that I love. It's, I think, one of the Monets that he did in Paris that I love. But having little nooks of stuff of gathering little trinkets is something that I love to do. While I was getting ready, there was a small part of me that thought, should I hide her toys or should I put them away? And then I thought, no, that's dumb. This is real life and this is her room too. And so this is a living room basket of toys that we have in here. There's a lot of other storage behind the couch for her toys as well. But having, again, nooks and stations for her in the apartment is just crucial, and having, you know, the ability to entertain her, having fun with her in different spaces, but also just that it's easy to grab for her. So when she sees it and she wants to play, she can easily do that is important to me. Again, more family photos. These are wireless sconces that, you know, thankfully I have to be transparent. I tried to command strip them on and that was dumb. So I TaskRabbited someone to help drill them in and do it correctly, because that's important. More family photos, and this is another drawing that I did in the Met. Something that is so special of getting to live in the Upper East Side is proximity to the Met, which is just such a treasure. And a game that I've gotten to play sometimes with my friends is we'll just go and do little speed drawings. And so you look at a painting and you give yourself 2 minutes to try to recreate it. And so this is on the second floor to the left, the Red Room. I don't know which painting it is, but it's one of the flower paintings in there. And it's just super fun to do. It's very life-giving to create art. There's so many inspiring things about living in the city and so many inspiring people. And it's fun being a tourist in our city, which is great. We actually met 10 years ago now. Can you believe it?
Yeah,
I think
that's wild.
Is that right? It's 10?
Let's go with 10.
Okay.
That sounds right.
10,
Yeah.
10 at a wedding.
Give or take.
At one of our friends' weddings, and you were a groomsman in the wedding, and I was not a groomsman in the wedding, but I was attending the wedding, and it was kind of, I mean, I don't want to say love at first sight, but we met and we're long distance, and then we got married, and it was kind of in game after we met, I think.
Yeah, we met briefly on the dance floor. Had a very awkward double date the
Very
next
awkward,
day.
yeah, it was painful.
And then we were long distance for 3.5 years until we got married.
Yep. We didn't even live in the same state until we were married, which is kind of hilarious looking back. But I always recommend long distance now because I feel like it helps relationships.
Yeah.
But yeah, 10 years ago. What was the nursery before? Narnia?
Yeah,
essentially
Narnia,
the room of requirement. I feel like it was
hodgepodge of my office and
storage,
guest bedroom.
Yes, when we used to have people, I mean, people can still stay here, but they would be sleeping with a baby, so I don't think that they want to stay here. So it was before it was a nursery, it was a crazy room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it became my personal favorite room in the house. It's so perfect. My personal favorite room in the house, my daughter's room. Come on in. It is my favorite. When I found out I was having a girl, I was so excited, but my mind just went straight to, I want to make this the girliest room possible. And it feels like it. This room is so, this is gonna sound weird, it's so peaceful. For being a room that holds so much chaos, it is such a comforting, joy-filled room for me. I love coming in here. We play in here all day, every day, and it's so much fun. I love being in here. The first decision in this room was the wallpaper, actually. And so if you feel it, it's from Farrow & Ball, and it's a little bit raised, and so you can feel the paint on the wall. So when you're in here close up, it has that painterly texture, which I love. I debated going back and forth if I wanted to personally paint a mural, but at that point I was 8 months pregnant and I couldn't do anything. So I decided this was the next best thing. And I love it. I feel like it just shifts your eye upwards and it's just very fun. The next decision was this chair. Such a great chair. Shoulder height. This rocks too, which I love. And it's just great and cozy. Having this be pinks and greens was a no-brainer, and everything truly came together very seamlessly for this room, which I love. There's a lot of things in here, honestly, are gifts from friends and family, which just makes this even more of a special place. Like this blanket was crocheted by Nate's aunt, which is so special. And the colors fit perfect, and she didn't even know our colors, and they were perfect, so how serendipitous. In this little nook, we have a lot of little sentimental items. I'm gonna put this in the passy bowl. This little outfit was mine, apparently, from growing up. My mom had saved it. And then that sweet carriage up there was the very first gift my mom got herself when she found out she was having a girl. And I remember pushing that little thing when I was a kid, thinking it was so beautiful and would have a baby doll in there. And it's just so special to get to keep these things in my daughter's room. I love it so much. Everything in this room makes me smile. It's so sweet. This was a gift it's a tea set. It's so cute, for my sister-in-law. This little sweet Peter Rabbit frame was a gift from my mother-in-law. She actually got it for herself when she was in that life of having kids, and saved it for a grandchild, and I love it. And so that's here. And this book actually is also really cool. When we first moved here, one of the tenants gave us this book because he wrote it. And it's so cool and just special to have that here too. Monet's my favorite artist, and it just felt like another just crazy serendipity moment of I love life, and I feel so fortunate. It's probably super annoying to hear, but I feel like I'm living my dream life right now. And getting to put all of these things in her room was such a joy to me, and I love getting to create it. These IKEA cabinets are so funny. These were actually our friends. I put these they're just like the IKEA random ones that I put these moldings on to make them look a little elevated with little knobs. But we carried these on our backs a few blocks. I do not recommend. Do not recommend. It was terrible. Storage. These 3 baskets up there hold diapers and wipes and backups of, diaper rash cream, everything we could do. And I'm so thankful we have those storage. There's so much, again, we keep talking about how storage is a luxury here in New York. And so finding cute ways to store things is key. Now, I will say it's a little bit awkward sometimes if I'm like, oh no, I just changed her and there's not a diaper in sight, to finagle one of those, but it can be done. Again, we have a lot of toy stations for her at the ready toys that she can grab. There's one little section over here and her bookshelf, which I'll go to. We love. We try to rotate as much as we can for toys, and I also try to condense. You know, living in New York, you don't have that much space, and storage is a luxury. And so being smart and fun about her toys, it is kind of a battle, but honestly, I just keep everything anyways because I'm emotionally attached to it all. So we just kind of rotate as they go. This wall is, again, this is probably, everything in here just has an emotional touch for me. This was a gift from one of my close friends for my husband and I's wedding, you know, so long ago. This was the very first gift I got myself when I found out we were having a girl on our baby moon in Paris. This little book right here was actually, this is a great idea for a baby shower. This is a book of paintings called Mothers and Their Children, but my friends use that as the guest book for our baby shower. And so if you flip through the pages, it's just tons of our friends and family writing messages to our daughter, which is so special to have, and in such a cool book too. I just love that. This is a book of prayers our other friends wrote her. This is a picture of Nate and I on our baby moon. We got this in Florence on our honeymoon. It's just, there's so much love in this room. So I spend so much time in this room, and it came together so sweetly. It just makes me smile, and I feel so blessed. Nate will tell you, and also my mom will say, that this is more so for me than my daughter. I just think this is so fun and so girly to get to just have stuffed animals. And again, what's actually really sweet about this is that these are all gifts. I think the only one I bought was this green guy because I thought he was sweet. But I feel so fortunate to have so much community that love our daughter well and get her little cute little bears. It's like the little plaza bear with his little plaza robe. It's so cute. It's so sweet. I will say though, Fitz, it's a battle between who's has ownership over these, me, Fitz, or my daughter. She doesn't really care about these yet. We go through half of those I feel like every single day. I say she loves to read. She probably just loves to throw them out of the shelf if we're being transparent. We love this bookshelf though. This is from West Elm. I don't know what we did without having a bookshelf. We go through books all day, every day. It's really fun. And I love getting little seasonal books. So you can see there's like a B is for Boo for Halloween and Madeline's Christmas time. I had good intentions of having a rotation with the books, but I just kind of like having them all out here. If we're feeling Christmassy, we can read a Christmas book. The crib, this chair, and the dresser are all from Namesake. I have loved this crib so much. It's been such a great crib, such a great centerpiece too. I know that I wanted to find a gold crib, but I love the finish of this. It was very easy to assemble together. It's such a sturdy crib too that I know that we'll have this for forever, for our next children too, and all of that stuff. We always have a little seasonal sweater on the edge. This is her springtime sweater. It's super fun and cute. We've done, the Christmas sweater, the Valentine sweater, Halloween, all that jazz. So she needs to find I need to find a summer sweater for her to put up there. But it's fun to get to decorate this in ways that feel maybe a little more eccentric than the rest of our apartment, because we get to just kind of lean into having a girl and letting this be as fun of a space for her as it can be. I know we said this before, but this is truly such a calm space, and this tree outside, I just love it so much. It's this gorgeous yellow, like sunshine in the fall, and then it has white little buds in the spring. It's like I hit the jackpot with a little beautiful color green. I used to say in our old apartment, we were just in the city, and I used to always say I miss the color green, and it's so perfect. It matches the room too. It's the right shade, but it's perfect. I was Miss America 9 years ago now, which seems crazy. So whenever I talk about it, it seems like a different lifetime ago, a different human ago. And I look back on it so fondly. It was the best, but absolutely the hardest year of my life. And there was a time where it was really hard for me to look back on it, but I look back on it now with such kinder eyes, I think, and knowing that so many of the things that I went through that year grew me into the human that I was supposed to become. And it was such a special time, and it set up the trajectory for my career, what I do now, and it's very fun to, it's such an interesting, crazy thing that even with my daughter, like showing her the crown for the first time was super weird, and things like that. It feels like a different life integrating, especially our new lives now.
I mean, we had been dating, what, a year and a half maybe?
Yeah, yeah.
A year and a half. I was in my final year of law school in DC, so we were already long distance. So I don't, in some ways we might have even got to see each other more
yeah,
than we otherwise would have, because you were in DC so much that year for different events. I mean, it was an incredible experience from the outside to get to see her do something that she was so clearly meant to be doing, and kind of see her shine, and the skill set and just the vibrant sunshine that Savvy is. Get to see the whole world, enjoy that, and see that as well was really special.
That's really nice. It was crazy, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It was, so the apartment, our first apartment was in Kansas City.
Yes, yeah.
And it was, I had already been living there and you moved in. So it was kind of a space that was mine, and then we were melding everything that you had into it. And so, I mean, it definitely took some time, I think, to kind of figure out how
our
this all
style
works.
is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
and like finding things. And I feel like too, we definitely have individually very different styles, but I feel like this place is such a good cohesive mix of like who we are as a couple and what we like, which is really special and fun. And I feel like we've done a good job of that.
Yeah. I think it's important to have veto rights.
Yes,
It's something
there's
that we
veto
talk
rights.
about.
We don't really have a limit on veto rights. As I'm saying that out loud,
you shouldn't have a limit on veto
there's
rights.
no
If
limit
you're
on veto
adamantly
rights.
against it.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you
gotta-
create a good argument and you can veto
You
something.
can, look, you have the full ability to convince the other person otherwise, but
It's true.
if you're diehard against it, then we respect that.
respect the veto.
Yeah, respect the veto. We are never leaving this apartment, ever. Our daughter will get,
She will get married here on
She
the
will raise
rooftop.
her kids here.
Fitz will be here the whole time
Fitz
too.
will be here.
I have no idea. That would be a dream though. So I know that right now purse bowl is trending. This is our sunglass bowl, but this is purse drawers where I change purses a lot. So this is full of everything I could need. It's always mostly lipsticks if we're being transparent, but sunscreen, hand sanitizer, double-sided tape, a measuring tape, anything that we would need, my wallet, AirPods, most things go in here. That way we can swap our stuff and get out the door real quick. But let's go to the bedroom. This is our bedroom, and it honestly, compared to the most of the house, in my mind, feels a lot calmer. There's a lot less decor in here, but one of the main things that I wanted to feel in here was just calm, peaceful vibes, going to sleep. I love going to sleep. I love a place that feels very, very cozy and at peace. These room was actually the first time I did faux wall molding. So there's faux wall molding throughout the entire house that's stuck on there with some, molding tape that I did a few years ago. So don't zoom in too close on the 90-degree angles. They're not perfect, but I feel like gave our walls just like a master's degree. They totally elevate a space and make it look like there's something there, even if there's not. When we found out we could have a king bed, I cried. I was so happy and so excited. We have the classic two duvet trick. I cannot take credit for that, but two duvets is, you can't go back. Once you try it, it's just the way to go. The bed and the side tables, I truthfully didn't intentionally choose a lower one, but now I really love the feel of it being low. The side tables are from Crate and Barrel, and I believe the headboard is actually from Wayfair. We got it. It was one of the, I think that was the first purchase, obviously, because it was the first time we had ever had a king bed since being married. And it was so exciting to get to have that. We have a gigantic TV in here because that was a Nate thing that I got no veto on, but I'm glad I didn't get the veto on it, because nowadays I prop, a YouTube ambiance up there, little crackling fireplace with a little fantasy thing going on. Then I have my mini screen Pinterest on the side, then my small screen TikTok with my tea. It's very great. I highly recommend that. This is my husband's side of the bed. This is also where all of her toys go. Again, we have different designated drawers for all of my daughter's toys. So she has toys in there because every morning when we go and bring her, or she wakes up earlier than us, bring her in here, we just throw her in the bed and we just mess with her for a long time. And so it's always key to have stuff stuff over there. We've got laundry baskets. We've got our neighbors that, you know, we wave hi to. We're, you know, close with them. This is my husband's armoire for all of his suits, all that jazz. My husband's watch collection right here is super cool. And then this, honestly, is probably the busiest space in this apartment. This is just like my girl throw up vanity, which I love. It hasn't been intentional, but you'll see even on my nightstand, I've collected perfumes over time. I kind of love wearing a different perfume every single day depending on my mood, and it's just been very fun. I think there's such a beauty and artistry to them, and it's been very fun to get to collect that over time. Not to be super dark or deep, but one of my first pregnancies was a miscarriage, and I didn't want to forget about that or forget about them, and so I have both of my BB's very first ultrasound frames framed up, and it makes me just smile, and I'm so thankful for both of them, and I'm so thankful I got to experience that twice, and having this here is super special to me and super important for me. I think it brings awareness, and I think it makes people not feel alone when it happens to so many people. So I always love talking about the miscarriage that I had, and if I didn't have, you know, if that baby, you know, it's crazy thinking about just the timing of everything and how I had to go through that to have my daughter, and it was always supposed to be her. And but I also want to thank baby sibling for guiding her to us, and so I always like to keep that there and always want to talk about that. I think that's super important. This painting right here, she doesn't normally live here, if I'm being truthful. This is a painting I did in college, and it was right after I went back to art school after I was Miss America, and so she means a lot to me. It was a very like weird emotional identity crisis point in my life, but she doesn't live here normally. She actually lives in my daughter's room, which totally makes sense because she's hot pink, it's pink, whatever. And she switches spots, so she doesn't normally live here, but she's living here for right now. And she says hi, we love her. I always like loved art and knew I wanted to be an artist, but truthfully, I just didn't think that that was something I could do in my life. And I didn't start off as an art major in college either. I started off as a business major just because I thought that was the right thing to do. And it wasn't until, you know, I was drawing at 3 a.m. every night that I thought I'm probably not in the right spot. And so I switched to an art major, and I've loved being able to do it. And I've been fortunate enough to continue to create and sell my art and go into that venture. It's been super fun and really life-giving. I love getting to create things, and finding out what that means as a mom too has kind of totally shifted. What I paint, how I paint, when I paint, all that is very different now too, but getting to be an artist is a huge part of me, and so I want to keep that flow going as long as I can. These are not mine. These are ones that I find so much inspiration from. I found these at the Grand Bazaar on the Upper West Side, and I just love them so much. Honestly, so many of my recent work looks like these not like these. These are fantastic. The detailing is amazing. I just love looking at them. They're single line drawings that I find so beautiful. But a lot of my recent work kind of follows this little theme of documenting New York. I feel so fortunate that we get to live here. I love living here, and getting to document it in my way is something that I want to do. I know that I will look back on those so fondly. This did not look like this. My husband actually completely redid this during paternity leave. Apparently he was bored or something. But so completely redid the vanity and the mirror, and it was a super fun project. To be honest, we were kind of going stir crazy, so it was a really great project to have, and I love the way that it turned out. But it just kind of flows with the space of the room, very neutral colors in this space, still keeping that very calm mindset of when I walk in here, I sleep. And knowing that. When it comes to renovating a rental, my opinion is do it. You are living in there. I think that, you know, like the wall molding I had, it's in every single room in that apartment. Did it take a super long time? Yes. Will it be kind of annoying to take down? Sure. Do I love looking at my walls? Absolutely. You want to pour love into your space, and then it'll love you back. And so if you're in a rental and you're like, should I do this? Why not? It's just paint or wall molding. You can always take it down. But this is our room. This is probably one of the calmest spaces, and it's been very great. And from the dining room is our kitchen, so come on in. This actually got totally redone 2 years ago now. Before, if you can imagine, it was actually a lot smaller. There was an entire cabinet thing on the bottom here that pushed it this way, so there really could only be one person here at a time cooking. And 2 years ago it got created into the white stuff that you see now, and it actually wasn't until recently that I started decorating this space. I had a child and so I was doing other things for a long time, and just recently started making it a cozy kitchen that we wanted to feel like I wanted to cook in. One of the big things though, I would love to have a lot of decor on the counters, but I also like to cook, and so having the space is crucial. And this is so much space, it's insane compared to what we used to have. And also, this is a very minor detail, but if you're in New York, you know, we used to have a kitchen dishwasher bunk bed situation, and so the sink was only like 2 inches, and just it was just water everywhere, insanity. And so having a sink that's like, it's such a luxury. This is amazing. I love this. But keeping things clean in here is crucial, while also a little bit of cozy. A few of the family items in here, I have this, my mom got me this gift. It's my grandmother's recipe in her handwriting of unspannkaka. We're Swedish, and this is what we have every Christmas morning, which is very special to me. And in this room, we kind of have just a bunch of random art. There's truly was no vibe other than, does this feel like a kitchen vibe? And if I just said yes by a gut check, then it went in here. This is where, you know, I make tea every single night religiously. I've become my mother and my grandmother, as we always do. It's a gift. We always have tea. We come in here every morning. I know maybe I mentioned this, but in every room in our house, we have games for our daughter, because there's, you know, every room is hers as well. So we have kitchen games, which kitchen game, this is going to be hilarious, but if I want to make breakfast, we put this on the ground, and this is kitchen game. It's just espresso pods, but we have kitchen games, we have games in our room, games in the cupboard, lots of random stuff, but things that are, you know, fun for her to do in here too is always key. In here is where we keep all of our pots and pans, because that's where you got to keep your storage. There's no other place to put them, so they go in here. This is our fridge door. We're a big Christmas card family. Because this is so small, all of our Christmas cards would fall off and I would get sad. So this is our Christmas card door. This just has, you know, fun things now. This is our daughter's Valentine that we made this year. So proud of her. But so yeah, and that's our kitchen. Whenever I think of the word home, I think of a feeling of nostalgia, and I think of a feeling of comfort, and rather than a space. And I think if you're lucky enough, the space that you live in will start to feel like home. I feel like this place, over a few years, whenever you move somewhere, that place is not going to feel like home right off the bat. But I think that when you live life there and you have memories there, that place feels like home. This place is where we walked home from the hospital and brought our daughter here. This is where, you know, we brought our son home. This is where we, you know, experienced so much life and highs and lows, and I feel very fortunate that this place feels so much like a reflection of us, and it feels like home. There we walk in and deep breath, not have to think about it, and you can just be, which I think is it.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off that, it's the memories that you make and that you experience there, right? And to your point, we had amazing time and memories here as just us.
Yeah.
And then we brought Fitz home, and that became our home, right? And now it's Adeline who's here, and going for work every morning, and you standing there holding her, waving me goodbye, and I come home every day and she's waiting for me and smiles and then turns around and I chase it. Those are the memories that we're making here that I think really
make it a home.
Make it a home to us, yeah.
Today on Homeworthy, we're taking you to sunny Charleston, South Carolina to tour the vibrant apartment of software consultant and content creator Sadie Loving. As soon as Sadie stepped inside, she immediately knew this apartment was the one. With a love of color and inspired by her mother, an artist, she's filled her space with bold hues and unique artwork. Join us as Sadie shares some of her favorite finds that beautifully reflect her personality. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Sadie. Welcome to my apartment in Charleston, South Carolina. Come on in, let me show you around.
Hi, I'm Sadie Loving. I work in software consulting and do content creation on the side, and welcome to my home in Charleston, South Carolina. Well, I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia, and I went to USC, South Carolina, not Southern California. And I just wanted to get back down here after being in Richmond a few years after college. So I really wanted to find a unique, historical, older Charleston house to live in, or apartment. And kind of stumbled upon this one when I was down here actually for a bachelorette weekend. And I was like, I'll rent it if you'll let me have it. So I love it, and it has so much character. My mom definitely inspires me the most. My house growing up was super colorful and gorgeous and had all this original art. She's an oil painter. And so you'll notice around the house there's tons of original oil paintings that she has painted me over the years, or I have stolen from her studio when she's not looking. But everything has made me want so much art in my house, and you'll notice that throughout. There's lots of art. Welcome to my living room. I have lots of stuff in here. My friends make fun of me because I have so many little tchotchkes and fun stuff that I've collected, but that's what makes me happy. So let's walk around and kind of see some of my fun treasures. I love to have a very full coffee table. I feel like that's kind of what I'm known for. I just started mahjong, so of course I had to display my tiles there. I am obsessed. Everyone should learn. So much fun. I also buy tons of coffee table books everywhere I go. I literally have them stacked to the brim under here. This is probably my favorite, actually. This is like an Hermes pop-up, and it's crazy. Like, it moves, and it never even gets seen because it's just under my coffee table. But I love it, and it's just adds a fun, bright color to the space. I've always wanted just like a simple white couch because I feel like there's so much color everywhere. So I wanted something simple. I thought this was cozy. This is my first big girl apartment. So I was like, this is perfect. Let me just get a white couch. And I've already stained it a zillion times. So I don't know if I would recommend, but it's cute. I love this pillow too. I actually just got it, and it makes me laugh so hard because I'm like, I am down to have some wine, but you gotta leave by 11 because I need to go to sleep. So I think this is the perfect little warning sign. Okay, over here, this is probably Tchotchke Nation right here. So I have this little TV console, and I just have tons of stuff stacked, but I really wanna show you the star of the show. This is my gold pig. I actually got this at a store here in Charleston, and they have them in the window, and I was like, I'm a Charleston girl now, so I deserve a gold pig. Over here, I really want to show you guys this. I'm a big matches girl. There's matches everywhere through my apartment. I have collected a ton, as you can see here. So I made some for my apartment, which I think everyone should do. It's so fun. People come over for a party or drinks, and you're like, here you go. It says stolen from Sadie's, and then the back has some little champagne and says Charleston on it. So anyone that stays with me, I always sneak some of these into their bag when they're leaving. There is so much art in my house, as I mentioned, and this is literally my favorite ever. It's been in my apartment since I graduated from school. This is by my mom, Laura Lowe Paintings. She is an oil painter out of Richmond, and it is just the most gorgeous painting. She always uses these touches of hot pink, which I love, and I think ties in all the hot pink that I have in this apartment. So I love this. And then I love to mix my art with pricier pieces to a Target painting that I might find, or just a print. So you'll find over here, which in my kitchen, that's just right over here a few steps away, is this kind of gallery wall that I've put together. So I've collected things all over, like this is an Etsy print. This is from a great artist, Philana Ruth, that I love. And then there's just prints that I've collected over the years. So I love to mix and match and have everything kind of pull together all the colors. Over here, you'll find my little cocktail bar. I just got this custom print, Philana Ruth as well. She made it for me. I'm obsessed. I love all things Veuve. I'm obsessed, and I went when I was in France a few months ago. So I have a lot of gorgeous Veuve things. I got champagne problems, which I think is so funny. Big Swiftie as well. But I love this area. It brings me happiness because it reminds me of having fun with my friends. And I'm always down to have a glass of wine with the girls after a long day of work or whatever they want to do. In the living room, I have lots of different acrylic pieces. I think this really helps in a small space. This is, as you've seen, a tiny little apartment, but the acrylic coffee table really opens everything up. And then I have these little side tables too, which is just so nice. So you're not trying to move around. And I feel like you can find these everywhere. They're a great price point, and just really brightens it up somehow. I guess the clearness. So this is actually maybe the best part of my apartment. It gets drafty in here. This is an old apartment. So I ordered a little fake fireplace. I can turn it on for you. It's from Amazon and it warms up this entire room. It's amazing. And I think it looks like a real fireplace, so it kind of just pulls in with the decor. I love it. I have a few different rugs in here. This one is actually from Amazon. I am obsessed. It's so nice and great, and I think it keeps like the beachy vibe of Charleston. I also have little rugs all over. So I have this little cheetah one. I just love this in front of the mirror, you know, just brightens everything up. I actually have a really cute one in the kitchen, which you're probably not supposed to put a nice rug in the kitchen, but I did. And this one is my favorite that I bought actually when I found I was moving down here. It's from KES Collections, and it brightens my morning every morning when I walk on it to make coffee. Okay, another thing that I'm obsessed with is needlepoint. I don't needlepoint because I just am so bad, but I love a needlepoint pillow. So you'll see that those are all over my apartment. This one my mom's friend actually made, and it's really true about me. I want it all, and I want it all delivered. And I'm sure my landlord could tell you about the packages that are on my porch. My favorite thing about my home is definitely all my knickknacks and little things that I've collected on travels and trips. I love a good coffee table book. I love something cool that I find at an antique shop and love to display it on some shelves around my house. I really think that art makes a home come alive. I think that walls that are covered in different gorgeous paintings or prints or photos of your family, just anything that covers the walls that makes you think of happy times, I think really makes the house feel special and makes each house unique. All right, and now we can head down the hallway, which is one of my favorite parts because of this glorious rug. This is Ballard Designs, and I love an animal print just to kind of tie everything together. And this is a long hallway, so I feel like it really brightens it up. I have a little gallery wall here as well. I went to the Eras tour, which was amazing. Had to frame that so I can think about it every single day. Follow me this way to my bedroom. All right, welcome to my bedroom. Obviously my favorite room because this bed is so comfy. I love to make the bedroom just like as personal and funky and crazy as possible because it's for me. So I went with a kind of chaotic bed assortment. This is a Rode duvet by West Elm. I am obsessed with it. I think it's such a fun pattern. I always have a chappy wrap on my bed. These blankets literally give me life. I'm obsessed. And then I just keep everything else kind of white so that these can be the pop of color. These are MFW Designs, which I'm obsessed with. And then this is Scout Design Studio. And I'm sorry that it says an inappropriate word, but it's so funny. And I've had it at every apartment I've had for like the past 5 years. So I love it. Over here, you'll find my vanity. This is where I sit and do my makeup. It's a mess, so I tried to clean it for you, but it's just such a fun little spot. It's really sunny in here, so I like to just take the morning, you know, do my skincare, whatever, and this hot pink always brings me some joy. Okay, so one of the things I love about this apartment when I toured it is these shades were already in here, and again, I was talking about that beachy vibe with the living room. I love that these kind of bring that coastal energy that I wanted with my Charleston apartment, so I think these really like brighten up the room and just, I love them. And then I also have another Lara Lowe paintings in here. This is a Virginia print that she pasted on the canvas and then painted over, again with that hot pink that I love. And everyone's always asking me about this and I'm like, I'm sorry, it's one of a kind, but she made it for me and it reminds me of my Virginia roots, which I love. This rug is another Amazon find. I am an Amazon rug girl because I do spill things all the time. I eventually hope to invest in a gorgeous rug like this that's real, but this is just an Amazon one, and I can't recommend it enough. The rug I love because it also ties in with the bedside tables. These are vintage. I got them at an antique store. They were already painted this pink, and I was like, okay, well this fits my vibe perfectly. So I literally shoved them into my tiny car with every inch of my being and somehow made them here. So they are the best, and I love these little poles. They're awesome. When I moved to Charleston, I ended up replacing my lamps that were in here, and I got these actually at Mount Pleasant Mall in Charleston, which is the best if you love looking at knickknacks and fun home stuff. So I got these, and they've been such a fun addition in here, and I'm loving pulling stuff from Charleston into my apartment. Okay, so this is a new addition to my apartment. I literally put this together 2 weeks ago, and I did it myself, which I'm amazed by because it looks really legit, but I needed a place to put my purses. Everyone knows the purses are just thrown on the back of the door craziness, and I love to display them because they're so colorful. So I got this on Amazon. People think I have a purse problem, and maybe I do, but that's okay. We all know the infamous chair where you just throw all your stuff on it when you're getting ready. This is mine. Right now it's really clean. But this is from Rifle Paper Co. and I love it. I think it's just fun to mix all these patterns because once you have 3 or 4 patterns, you might as well just have a million. So this is a fun little pop of color and a nice little stool to throw your bag on or whatever. I am one of those people that is always scrolling the Anthropologie sale section, and I saw this mirror and I thought it would be perfect in here to kind of open up the room. It's pretty much, I only have 2 mirrors in here. So I grabbed this. I love this squiggle design and like the wood. I feel like it ties in with the shades, and it's just such a good little accessory. This is one of my dressers. This is also something that I picked up at an antique store. And I just love the bright blue. I mean, if I'm gonna have color, I might as well have a ton of it. And then, of course, the coffee table books made it into the bedroom. I love these. They just brighten up the space. And I keep my perfumes and a few candles. And this painting really ties it all together. It's actually a print with paint, and then I think they used like chalk or something, but it's really fun, funky, I love it. All right, and if you follow me this way, I'll show you my bathroom. All right, welcome to my bathroom. I really wanted to just keep this simple, which is shocking for me, and you're probably gonna say it's not that simple, but you can come on in. I really wanted everything to match, so I got a bunch of Wheezy towel stuff. It's the best, and I just think it's very chic. So I did my initials. My mom was like, no one's ever gonna be able to use anything that you bought because you put your initials on everything, and I was like, that is just the story of my life. So I'm sorry about that to everyone. But I got it all monogrammed. I think it's so great. And then this hamper is the best because it just blends right in and it's covered. I have a few art pieces in here too. Can't leave the bathroom without art, right? So my friend actually made me this match print. And then this is a Barbie and Ken print that I got in New York. But everything, it's pretty small in here, but everything kind of fits. I got this great towel shelf from IKEA, and it's just like such a fun color. I feel like it ties in all the blues and everything. So I love the bathroom. I think it's a fun, happy place. When I toured the apartment, the walls were blue, and I was like, okay, can we keep that? And my landlord was like, I'm actually gonna paint it white with like a waterproof paint or whatever. And I was like, please, can you keep the blue? And he was like, let me see if I can find waterproof blue. And he did. And I'm so glad because I've always wanted like a blue bathroom or like a colorful bathroom. So it's great. Seriously think every house I've ever rented has had this tile in the bathroom. Maybe that's a sign. Like, I'm sure you guys have all been in a bathroom or rented a bathroom that is like this. It's so classic and I love it. All right, and now let's check out my porch. This is such a classic Charleston porch, and that was one of the things that I was dying for. It does get really hot here in Charleston, so it's great to sit out here and just take in the fresh air. I have a little barista table down here, and then just some cute rockers. I just love being out here, and I love being outside, and especially with a small space, it's great to have a place where you can get out, so I love it out here. Home to me definitely means being with loved ones, being with friends, hosting. My favorite thing to do is have my friends over and just enjoy the space with some cocktails or a nice meal. I just love having people over, and that really makes this home feel alive to me. Homeworthy, it was so much fun showing you around my apartment in Charleston, South Carolina, but I gotta get back to my day job, so you gotta go. Bye!
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.